I do find it interesting, though, that of all the conversations of things and breeds and things that need to be banned, we start off our conversation today with an article, or at least a reporting from the BBC, saying that there is a mass bully walk being planned in Birmingham, with the organizer asking people to bring as many people and kids as possible in order to prove that the breed is not the problem. When I hear people saying that pit bulls and bring as many people and children as possible, I just simply think to myself, instead of a mass casualty event, we're going for a the Far Side child sacrifice ritual. Because to me, it just sounds like an old Far Side comic where Gary Larson's just like the pit bull factory, Timmy's daycare or whatever. It's just perfect. This is what we're. This is what gets banned in the UK, but not all the boats and shit that comes in. We're so back. We're so back.
That reminds me of the like the one Far Side one about like the werewolf, and like he sells him a bullet that's not silver.
Yeah.
He's the werewolf. Yeah, it's like what, can you imagine like if that like pit rally just turns into, well, we'll see.
I don't wish that to happen, but my gut instinct tells me someone's kid that's the last day a kid has all 10 fingers, like it's just not going to end well. And the other news story that opens up with today is that the I guess our tyrannical friend in a middle or an Eastern European country is in New York right now. And instead of glory to Ukraine, I will just simply share my screen and put it up here so all can see in this like wonderful bit of glory. Whoops, let me go share screen real quick. We've got instead Mr. Zelensky being introduced with glory to urine. glory to urine, kids. Glory to urine. It's such a wonderful time.
That's such a boomer. I love, like, that's such a boomer con meme right there.
I do want to know deep down, is this like, did someone just like genuinely fuck this up? Or it can't be. It's too deliberate. It's too deliberate. But it does make one wonder who set that up.
Well, how close is urine to Ukraine? Like, how is that? Like a few. I'm curious now. Let's see.
I don't think that they messed it up at all, but it's got to be deliberate. There's no way that someone screwed it up that badly. Yeah, I definitely agree. The only other thing have you noticed on Twitter how shitty it's been as of late? We have to get the mandatory Twitter talk out of the way, but I swear every like when my notifications will blow up or whatever, and it's like X number and 20 other people followed you. And it's just like at least 2 out of that 20, if not 3 or 4, depending on the day, they're all sex bots. Like the YouTube chat thing has gotten pretty moderate because like we don't really, as much as we talk about ribald and awful things on this show, we've never been bombarded with sex bots. But on
BTR
Twitter
used to get bombarded with sex bots, but that was years ago. That was a few years ago.
But now they're all on Twitter. All the sex bots are on Twitter now. And what's worse is that they sound like normie, sort of like Nate, because like I get a lot of normie con followers. They'll be like, "Hi, my name's Ashley Kelly. I love the Second Amendment. I'm a proud mom of 3 kids. I love taking them to soccer or whatever." And like they just post like Trump shit or whatever, and I don't mind that at all. But then it's just like, "Hi, I'm like Ashley something something," and then you click on the profile and it's just like hardcore pornography, and I'm like, I'm so tired of this.
It's like
I feel like I'm getting got.
You know what? Like that's what greets you.
Yeah, like, it's goatsy, but for Twitter in 2023.
They used to like DM you stuff like the chatbots, or like, but that was more like crypto scams. But like here, it's like the sex bots are just incredible. Like it's you have to like go through each like woman poster in your inbox, and it's just like it never ends. Like it never ends. So, well.
I've just been informed that there is someone using my profile picture in a Twitter. Time to go comment that guy. But yeah, anyways, it's a good time to be alive. It's a good time to be around. I like this. The only sex bot people need apparently is Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh wow. Well,
yeah.
So
we're touched, John Carter. We're touched.
But Are you sure it's a good time to be alive right now? That's well, I guess, but you never
I
want
don't
to.
want I don't want to be a dead guy, so I'm gonna take
True.
the live part.
Yeah.
That's
True.
for sure.
But there was this there was this comment about the church that our friend Pope had he had, but I don't know. I can't read anything right now, so we'll see. But that was like the end of it was like most people have their like get their Catholic theology not from oh, what do you say? I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But anyways, yeah, it's I don't know. It's like you don't want to give in despair, but I guess it's who you are, right? Like I mean, today we're talking about some Leaf politics, and oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so this is a good. This is a good. This is a great tweet. Reminder: there's nothing Christian about open borders and mass immigration. Migration. To assert such a thing is to effectively abrogate our history. It is to claim that the Reconquista was immoral and barbarous. It is to claim that the Saint Pius V and his harsh expulsions of various groups from the Papal States was profoundly sinful. And this is the great part. The church most of you seem to be a part of was not founded at the Pentecost, but at Nuremberg. So there's like, I mean that's the assumption. I think that like as much as our side of things, we really go over how that's like the reigning assumption of everything is like this World War II, mythos and sense of like what the order of things is. But yeah, it's just I think like there's a lot of things going on recently that really I think makes this apparent, and I mean you can only hope for the best, and that we'll win in the end, and that we'll win in the end. There's always hope. Millions will live. Oh, sorry, millions will be born, and we'll live in based world, or our grandchildren will live in based world. That's the best you could hope for, Prude.
Is that really too much to ask for? I guess that's the real question.
Yeah, probably, but
I hate to be this guy, and I like that he changed his name after we did that bit about congressional representatives running for office and dropping their OnlyFans and shit like 2 episodes ago. And he's changed it because I said Representative Mike Oxlong, and here he is with his changed profile. I love it; it's fantastic. But I guess to be that guy, right, would be to make sure you hit the notification bell on both my channel and Geo's to make sure that the dang notifications on YouTube don't fail you. Because I know the trains in Mumbai don't run on time, and I know that means the notification bells in Indian-run YouTubes don't run on time. So act accordingly, prepare accordingly, and make sure that you hit that damn bell.
And also, let me just say, now that you've mentioned it, let me reaffirm my love of Hinduism and Vedanta, and we are brothers. Hindu nationalism all the way, and I hope Modi, one of the greatest living statesmen. I hope he ends up really well. I can't go too far, but let's just say that I know who I'm siding with between him and Trudeau. So it's been so hilarious. It's like this really is like Canadian multiculturalism. It's like Sikhs and Hindus just like having an inter-ethnic war on the streets of Vancouver and Brampton, and but yes, I stand with Shiva. I stand with Modi, and that's it. I'm only half joking. Okay, I'm only half joking. I don't have a dog in this fight, but I have studied Vedanta at the academic level as well. So we'll.
That's like saying, "Hey, I've studied communication and right wing propaganda or like lit crit at the professional level." Uh, listen. I've studied American history at the master's like dissertation level, and I'll have you know, nobody lived in a two-parent household. Everyone was gay. You were never happy. I have studied,
Nobody
India at the
was happy.
professional
Let's
level.
do it again, Prude. Nobody was ever happy. Nobody ever had a good family.
Oh
Oh
my
no, but
god.
seriously, I
What
mean,
a week. What
what
an
a week, yeah,
absolute week.
yeah, for Canada, for the world. Um,
I saw this lovely little, like, you know how people will do the, like, meme calendar thing, like what was the big meme or news event in this month and that month. Can you believe that in February we had the Chinese balloon shit and it's like no one cares that that ever happened? Like, we just lost an F-35 fighter jet, for God's sakes, but, like, remember just, like, 5, 6, 7 months ago when we had a Chinese, like, high altitude balloon fly over US territory and no one did shit for, like, a week? Good times. What a great time.
And they shot it down,
Yeah. I
allegedly.
see, here's another one. I academically studied punk. It was never right wing. Ah, just no one's happy. Like, I swear, if you academically study shit like that, you're just determined to, like, enter a binge of SSRIs, alcohol, and toxoplasmosis gondii. Like, it's just inevitable.
But I did study debate in grad school. Like, that's like not a lie. Like, that's. But no, I get what you mean. So, do we want to? I mean, AA had that whole stream on Russel Brand. Do you want to get to that first?
Well, I was hoping we would actually, because we never talk about Canada outside of Trudeau being the bastard child of Fidel Castro. I was actually genuinely interested on your take on what happened inside
Okay.
of Canada because we never talk about it. And I wanted to know more about it because, like, we talk a lot about sort of like there's a high percentage of Ukrainians that live inside of Canada. It's the highest concentration of
Mhm.
them outside of the country.
Yep.
But so what happened in India? I take it that this was a Hindu versus Sikh killing, and now Trudeau
Yep.
has called out the Indian government.
Yep. More or less. So, what happened was this stems from a few years ago. Well, actually, more than a few years ago. Do you remember 2018 where Trudeau went with his family and he like greeted the Indians with like this ridiculous display of like ethnic clothing and like it's like the quintessential white liberal.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and so like they didn't take very kindly to that, especially Modi. And because for all that you can say, Modi is a serious statesman, and he very much is. I mean, okay, he has authoritarian tendencies, but who doesn't in that part of the world, right? Modi, he's an educated guy. He is a Hindu nationalist, and the problems that they've been having with the Sikhs have stemmed for like literally like a long time. Put it that way. Now, unfortunately, Sikhism is becoming one of this like shelling points of identity. The way that, for example, again, not that I'm like having a dog in the fight, but it's sort of like how they take like Ukrainian Orthodoxy and they use it as this like bully pulpit against the Russians. And there's a lot of like, and they're like, even like on the TLIC, like when I like lurk libs, they have this thing about like anti-Orthodoxy posting where it's like, they were like, they're just an arm of the state in Russia. It's just like the Soviet Union, but they're fascist now instead of communism. It's like this really degrading like shit that doesn't have anything to do with the theology of Orthodoxy. That's basically what Sikhism is almost becoming now, where they're taking this region of India that's like, by and large has had like secession issues, not to condone what the Indian state has done to them, to the Punjabs. Come on, Indira Gandhi did like blow up the Golden Temple, and they were harboring militants and all that stuff. But like, yeah, there's like a long, complicated history. So basically, it's an issue of Canada importing the culture war, like which is actually real. People actually die in this region of the world, and importing that into Canada. And this is like a weird extension of that. So Trudeau, in all of his infinite wisdom, decides to snub Modi during these talks about trade to signal for his, the ethno-narcissists that are in the Liberal Party of a certain particular Eastern European origin. I'm talking about Ukrainian, of course. And so, because let's face it, Chrystia Freeland really, really runs this place, not Trudeau. You think Trudeau has the mental reserve to run anything, right? Let's face it, people like Chrystia Freeland basically run Canada. That's like Trudeau is like, he is what he is. So because Modi is so tight with Putler, and because the Indians have not gone along with the sanctions, because of course, why would they? Because they're making like hand over fist in terms of oil trade. Because we all know what happens. The European Union, they basically buy Indian oil, quote unquote Indian oil. That's really just Russian oil. That's diverted through Indian companies and so forth. And Russia is a big trading partner to them, and of course they're part of the BRICS. And China is even more important to India. The Chinese and Indians, they don't really like each other. You know this bit. I mean, I don't have to tell you, Prude. You know all this stuff. So,
Yeah.
but basically, when it comes to Canada, you have to realize that India is more important to Canada. Whatever you want to say about immigration, I'm, of course, opposed to mass migration, as you know. But for what it's worth, India is kind of more important to Canada than even America. India is important to America. That's just the reality of it. There's more people, and most of them, a lot of them, I think a percentage more of them are Punjabis. They're Sikhs. They come from that particular region in India. But still, there's quite a lot of Hindus here. But India as a whole is very important and integral to Canada in terms of trading and in terms of immigration and in terms of a lot of other things. So Trudeau, in his infinite wisdom, he decides to stub Modi to appease the Ukrainians, especially Chrystia Freeland, and to do this virtue signaling thing about standing with Ukraine. And then a few weeks later, Z-Man is meeting Trudeau in Ottawa. He's doing another begathon. And apparently in New York, he did this begathon from which we saw that Slava Urin mural. He didn't get as much as he wanted to, and Poland has said that they're not going to support him. So it's actually pretty crazy that Poland, the Polish are sidelining their intense ethnic hatred of the Russians, because they know what they're gonna, they know what the position they're in. So, anyways, this happens, right? And then this guy who is alleged to be a terrorist, who alleged to conduct a few bombings in the mid '90s, I believe, in India. He comes to Canada, and Trudeau calls him a Canadian citizen. Okay, but as our friend Martin explained, this guy was repeatedly rejected on fraudulent visas, on fraudulent marriage visas, and on faulty passports until this is on the timeline from 1997, 95, 97 to the present day, and they admitted him into the country. Why? Right? Now, what Trudeau should have done is he should have basically just handed this guy over. Because A, he has no right to be here. And B, I'm pretty sure India has a pretty solid extradition treaty with Canada and with America, right?
Yeah.
So, whatever you may think of the Indian justice system, these allegations are spurious. And then people are like, oh, well, there were really strange things. He had talks with CSIS, which is the Canadian glow in the dark, but they're way less effective than the Americans and the CIA. So he was in talks with CSIS, and there's all this speculation whether he was a terrorist or not. But the point is that this should have been in order to wave away a very frail time between India and Canada. Trudeau should have just given this guy up. So then he winds up dead, and right off the bat, without any evidence, they accuse India of sending assassins to go and redact this guy. Which, I mean, to be honest with you, probably, it's not out of the realm of possibility. America's done this in Canada too, by the way. Right? America experimented in the 60s on Canadian citizens with Ewan Cameron and MK Ultra. But because the Americans, the deep state, they view Canada as a backwater. It's their backyard. Nobody cares. Canadian government never cares because how can we say anything? It's America, right? It's come on. We all know what real politique of this is. But also, what really is interesting is that it doesn't implode any relations between India and America. But America, if the theory goes, this is what I've been seeing by people that are mutuals of mine on Twitter, is that they speculate that basically this has been concocted by getting let's say, not not the sharpest star of the northern sky, Justin Trudeau, to get his hands dirty to basically implode relations with Modi and India, while America reaffirms their trade commitment to India despite them chiding them over not going along with the Russian sanctions. Because they know that Canada has way more of like a moral investment in the Ukrainian conflict than even America does. Although that's stretching it, because you could see like people in the State Department that have this like, terrible obsession with getting at Russia for whatever reason. So it's a win-win for America, because India will just transfer everything to trading with America. And, America certainly doesn't have, well, yet, we'll see what happens, because in Silicon Valley, things are, well, trending that way. But America does not yet have the demographic problem of a whole host of, Sikhs and Hindus coming into Canada that, that are very concentrated within a few minor cities, right? So America, this is a win-win for them. So Trudeau gets to spurg out and spill spaghetti, and he gets to virtue signal, and he gets to screw over things for Indians in Canada, because there will be reprisals, I would imagine. I mean, there's already like semi-riots that have happened in the past few days. So, it's really like a geopolitical blunder, because whether you like, again, like I say, I'm a critic of mass migration, but the reality is that like, India and Hindus and Punjabis, they're like, they make up an importance towards the Canadian economy and trade and immigration. And Trudeau just went about this in the most spectacularly R-worded way possible, by accusing Modi of direct assassination and this like, Tom Clancy novel reality. It's like, I mean, hey, maybe it could be true, who knows? But I'm pretty sure if you're like on an international terrorist watch list, you probably made a few enemies along the way, besides the Indian government. So,
Yeah.
in terms of my take, I think that in the grand scheme of things, this is going to cement a precedent of Canadians experiencing the absolute dregs of having other people's ethnic conflicts in our borders and mass importations of people that do not get along with each other. But also, it's very strange how like leaf libs, they're even like more programmable than their American equivalents, which they crib off of. Like already you have people that don't even know where this, like, what's the state that they have, what's it called? The Punjabi state?
Khalistan?
Khalistan, yeah. They don't know what region they come from in India. They don't know the politics of Modi. They don't know anything. They don't even know about what Sikhism is. But all of a sudden now, it's like the narrative is to defend Trudeau and say that Hindus are the real terrorists. They're the real, Austrian painter fans. And, Modi is like Putler. And it's like, that's the narrative now. Right? Because, I mean, the reality is that, well, I mean, if you want to look at the mid-century Germans' relationship to India, let's not go there. But the point being is, like, the narrative from, like, very easily gullible and programmable people. Like, I personally cannot wait till Hindu Twitter, like, viciously goes after, like, leaf libs that have flags in the bio and, like, I'm 5 times jabbed and their profile pictures of a mask, right? And it's like, I can't wait for Hindu Twitter to find them. It's going to be hilarious, and I'm here for it. But the point being is that this is a massive geopolitical blunder, and it really just shows the limits to the state ideology of Canadian multiculturalism. And if Trudeau had any grace or any gravitas, he would have found a way better way to handle this. First of all, the guy shouldn't have even been here. That's like, whatever. But
That's the story of every migrant killing. Like,
yeah,
in the last 40 years, none of them should have been here. Like, almost every killing that's happened in America with some kind of migrant has either overstayed visa or has just been illegal for years and
yeah,
has been deported on more than one occasion.
yeah. Wasn't there a guy from Afghanistan that was like this as well? I forget.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
been a few in
it
America.
was like that on Night Owls, where it's just like, it's really depressing that we can all like name 4 or 5 of these like migrant murders like off the top of our heads, and it's not even the big ones. Like, this just happens.
Oh, you're referring to like American citizens getting murdered by migrants. Oh, I mean like
Yeah.
I mean, like they take themselves out, where it's like the ethnic conflict they're
Oh, I mean,
escaping
that
from.
happens all the time. Like like, I mean, like for instance, there's been an ongoing, like California is a really good example of this. Like the ethnic composition of Compton has been steadily more Hispanic, and like the like this used to be like a black city or a black area, and now it's predominantly Hispanic due to a lot of sort of just inter-ethnic warfare between African Americans and the Hispanics or Mexicans and other gangs that come on over. Like you see it all the time, and New York's
Oh
no
yeah,
different.
yeah. I think I remember reading about. I think it was in WikiLeaks. It was a batch of WikiLeaks papers where the American government, like the FBI and the CIA, they're like monitoring a lot of this ethnic conflict, especially in places like California. They know what's going on. It's just that
Yeah.
they can't do anything about it. I mean, well, I mean, actually, they can, but
Well,
there's nothing
I'm
about it.
writing an article about the nature of migration and how it like applies to a nation's foreign policy. Because like I don't know if you read this or I sent it to you, I think, but it's from that person who calls themselves Catgirl Kulak, and I don't like that name for obvious reasons. But like the article that this individual wrote, and I don't know if it's a man or a woman, so that's why I'm going with it here. They had written this article about why like if America did go to war with like the cartels or whatever, it
Yeah.
requires drones flying over Houston and all the border states. Like you can't trust these people, and you couldn't be able to like functionally maintain your own borders. Like they've been so porous for years that if you were to actually say for like, here's your nightmare scenario: President Vivek Ramaswamy and Vice President Nikki Haley on the inter Samsara kind of like presidential unity ticket. Managed to get what they want. More money for Israel, but we're also going to bomb the shit out of the cartels. All of a sudden, you are not going to be able to effectively live in any major city inside of New Mexico, Texas, Arizona, or California without severe concerns for your life and livelihood.
Oh yeah.
And that this article is like a brutal like takedown of how this would work and how terrorism operates and how the cartels manage to work inside the U.S. And it's just like the same thing would happen with Canada, right? Like if tensions were to ever get weird, right? To say between the Indian lobby and say like a lot of Chinese control over Canada, and say Canada wants to do something, like you're fucked either way,
Oh yeah.
right? Like, and this is just where things are going. Oh, Catgirl is a woman. 0 HP unfollow Catgirl because of her gender. Well, that's good to know. But wonderful.
Whoa. I can't wait for the Chinese and the Indians to take each other out. That's going to be hilarious. Like that.
Are they still going to follow their rules though, where they like where they don't fight each other with guns, but like melee weapons? Like just across Montreal, it's just like swords and kukris and all sorts of shit. Like it'd almost be entertaining.
It'd be like in China where they had the knife attack that like took out like 30 people. Like, how do you take out 30 people with just a knife? That's incredible. But like, I mean, listen, Canada's future looks pretty bleak, and it's really funny seeing libs like talk about all of this and having to defend Trudeau and his like absolutely abysmal foreign policy decisions. But I mean, at the same time, we have this Million Child March or whatever it's called. But we'll get into that. But yeah, so apparently recently, as of recording that, as of like going live, today they found another suspect. Like how many Sikh terrorists are in Canada? This morning they suspect another one was assassinated. And of course the Canadian government, they're like, yep, it was India again. I mean, that would be a huge blunder if it was the Indians, but
I've been informed that he's a guy. Good to know.
because you interviewed him.
Okay.
No, but like apparently another like Sikh alleged terrorist has been redacted in Canada this morning.
Oh,
let me look this up.
What an interesting turn of events. Who would have guessed? Goodness gracious. But I mean, that doesn't surprise me to some extent, right? Like that this is going like I guess it's the whole, if you're going to bring them here, you bring their ethnic conflict with you. Like this isn't new information, I feel like, for anyone who's on this side of politics. Like that's just what's going to happen.
Now India has suspended India suspends visas for Canadians as row escalates. Based.
Oh, and he just disappeared. So Gio's been on his phone because there's been some internet issues out there with him. Hopefully he'll be back in just a minute here, folks. But yeah, who are we going to side on the Canadian Civil War? That's a really good question. Hey, he's back. Look at
Sorry,
that.
I think I accidentally pressed leave when I was supposed to press chat. But no, yeah, so they're suspending all the Indians got me. Oh, the Sikhs got me for pro Shiva, pro Vedanta posting. Um but yeah, Whitworth says why pick sides? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I'm half joking.
There's no need to pick sides. Like,
No.
just stay out of this. Keep your head down and try to survive and thrive in this weird post Canadian Canada.
Yeah. Whatever side is against Trudeau, I'm on. So that's pretty much I just hate liberals. That's my politics. It's like I
I don't
hate
have any
Trudeau.
politics,
That's
guys.
it.
I don't. I just hate. I don't hate. I just really hate liberals, guys. Like, don't. A day will come for theory cells because I'm not one of them. I just hate liberals.
Oh my god! But yeah, apparently another one. If someone could find the link for me, another one got assassinated. So, imagine if Jagmeet becomes PM and Ramaswamy becomes president. Oh my god, that would be. Well, the tech world.
That would
Apparently
be the end of the
rallied.
Anglosphere. Like, honest to God, that would be it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Australia and New Zealand have their own problems, especially because I think Australia's got that whole weird Aborigine voice bill or whatever. And then, of
Yeah.
course, like, New Zealand's just screwed because of the Ardern government. But, like, whoo! It's kind of over for the Anglosphere. Like, if America gets an Indian president first, like, it's over.
Well, the UK has an Indian prime minister?
Doesn't Ireland have one?
Ireland has one. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's
And
Canada's.
who's the new head of the S&P?
Oh God,
Because now Nicola Sturgeon got like ousted.
could be another Indian.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. The leader of the Scottish National Party, yeah, Husma Youssef.
Is it Indian or
He's Pakistani.
Oh wow, yeah. There you go. I mean,
God bless America.
Wow.
Like, it's over.
It's
every
over.
every UK country has an Indian or Pakistani prime minister. Unbelievable.
Yeah, funny Canada has yet to.
God, this is blackpilling.
Can you imagine a Canadian one? It won't be Jagmeet Singh though. He doesn't have I mean, Jack Layton could have before he died probably could have for the NDP, but I mean, come on, nobody likes. I don't even think Sikhs like Jagmeet Singh that much. You know, he was at the anti-parent rally, the counter protest. Of course, I mean, did you expect anything more?
For that million child march or whatever.
Yeah, he was in the counter protests with the groomers. So
protests were carried out as a means to advocate to remove pronouns, gender ideology, and mixed bathrooms in the educational environment. Well, it's not a bad. It's a shame that these people are going to get shit on.
Oh yeah, no, because any vaguely right-wing movement in Canada has now become illegal after the
truckers.
Yeah, after the truckers. So, I mean, the media coverage immediately, it's just been nonstop, state-funded propaganda against this rally, and you have the usual contingent of people, the usual, Antifa doxing people and going after them, and confrontations between protesters and counter protesters.
Is your Antifa A-log still on Twitter?
Yeah, but
unbelievable.
A new account.
Help me find my Antifa oomfies, just like every time, hey, Jason Wilson, boost me if you could, honestly, if we wanted to make money, kids, we wouldn't be rightists. That's how we haven't sold out to Moloch just yet.
If we wanted government money, we wouldn't be rightists, but
that's for sure.
No,
we will take your money. Sneed it over now on Entropy, but yeah, we're not here. We're not in it to make easy government cash. That's for sure.
No, it's really hilarious though how when you lurk Canadian Antifa, like, I mean, they're obsessed. I don't know if this woman's like Indian or something, but they're like obsessed with this like fake lawyer woman, as I've told you. But they're also like they're pro Sikh posting now, and they think that like Modi is like a evil terrorist that hates the other people in India. It's very much what's similar to, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Not to say that the Chinese are not to say the Chinese government isn't evil. Chinese government is definitely evil, but it is very similar to the Uyghur thing, where the like have like although I would say there probably is more evidence in recent times for persecution against the Uyghurs in China than what like the persecution that the Sikhs faced in the 80s. But it's always like this cloud of suspicion where like gullible libtard Westerners don't know what's really going on, and they have this thing where it's like, the evil Chinese government, and yeah, the Chinese government is evil, but like, the Uyghurs, and it's like this big thing about G-word-eyed, and it becomes this like weird geopolitical moralization of real politics, and that's how like the libtard world order, that's how it operates. So
Well,
now they're doing this to
it's a
India.
it's a feedback loop though. Like
Yeah,
if you have to it's the society of spectacle, but now we're just going to throw in a pinch of like ethnic conflict and geopolitics on top of it. Like,
yeah,
pay no attention to what's actually happening in your local government, your local councils or whatever. We need you to engage in this like telescopic ethnic sympathy across onto the subcontinent. And I said
yeah,
this yesterday. I said literally we are living in Mrs. Jellybee's longhouse. Like this is it. Like for those who if you've read Bleak House, Miss Jellyby is this woman who's just entirely obsessed with this like native tribe halfway across the world in some far-reaching colonial territory of England, and she gives no fucks about her own family or whatever. Like she is that telescopic philanthropy is what Charles Dickens would call it. And so that's what it is. But instead of it being telescopic, it's now macroscopic. We have to make sure that it's everywhere. It's on a wide scale. It's part of this like collective noosphere of the liberal and even sort of the conservative mind as well. But now it's not just far away, kids. It's
yeah,
right in your own backyard. But we still haven't left Mrs. Jellybee's longhouse. Like that's where we're at.
yeah. I can't wait till Canadian libtards start to like pour over like the connections between you know Sestri Devi and like the Austrian painters, and how Hinduism is inherently like
Fashy.
fashy, and yeah, I can't wait for that, man. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's like every time that in like religious or pictographic like linguistic conversation, someone's like, "Oh my gosh, these Nazis!" And then it's just like, "Sir, this is from like 500 years ago. What are you talking about? Like 5,000 years ago? Like get over yourself."
Yeah,
You will get shit libs apoplectic and like at least the next 6 months calling people like fascists or whatever because they see an ancient Hindu symbol of peace or whatever. It's gonna happen.
um there's one take by, yeah, so Savitri Devi might be poured into, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get like Canadian leaf libs who have masks in their bio and who's been jabbed 5 times. We'll get them to read again, Woman Against Time. Biscuit and Coffee had a great take. Indian Canadian kerfuffle is a potential net positive. It undermines the R-worded Canadian regime, and perhaps with the degradation in diplomatic relations, we'll see a reduction in immigration numbers. Well, I wouldn't be that hopeful.
I'm never optimistic that any kerfuffle of interethnic conflict causes immigration to decrease.
No, you know what's going to happen is that Hindus won't come to Canada, but that just means that more Sikhs will come to Canada. So that's it.
Yeah, you're just swapping out one for another.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is that there's more Sikhs than there is Hindus in Canada. So there's quite a lot of Hindus though, but yeah.
Slava Ukrainians. Dimitri
The reality is
posting in
that
Canadian
Savitri
HR
Devi probably
leaves.
would be pro-Ukrainian, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Unbelievably. There you go. Yeah, we had Islamo-fascism, kids. Are you guys ready for Hindu fascism? I really can't wait.
Now instead of neocons, it's libtards. Not that there's a difference.
Not that there's a difference, instead of one being Trotskyist, one's just more openly, Marxoid about it, just being like, "Listen, guys, this fascism is just a reaction to our utopian desires to remove, like, liquidate the middle class."
Mm,
Oh man. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll keep a tab on this because this will not go away anytime soon. There's like what 4 million individuals from the subcontinent that are now inside Canada,
yep.
like a really huge portion of your like because you're about 40 million people.
Yeah.
So that's still an insane number to consider how many are in there.
It's incredibly insane.
Yeah. Like that's what, a tenth?
Yeah.
Good lord. That's insane to think about. Absolutely crazy. So did you want to also get into the Russell Brand thing real quick?
Oh,
Because
let's
I know Academic
protest.
Agent covered it, but to me, uh, this was like right before the stuff came out. Because I know that
Yeah.
Russell Brand said a video like, "Listen, if you say shit, you will be targeted, you will be pressured, yada yada yada." And then there was Me Too, snuggle with a struggle. I don't know if I can say. Oh, there were rape allegations. There were sexual assault allegations like
RP. Yeah. Alligator.
Mr. Brand. And of course, like Mr. Brand by no means is. I mean, like he just speaks out against disinfo, how the regime targets things. And he used to be like, I remember him from forgetting
He's
Sarah Marshall. Like I never thought of him as. Now he's got a huge media presence on Twitter, on Telegram, or not Telegram, but on Rumble and TikTok and the like. And I heard the report from the Telegraph. The voices of the women telling these stories did not. They sounded either incredibly coached, like they knew
yeah.
what they were going to say for the press, but there was also like no breathing and no emotion in those videos or that audio whatsoever. And it was just like it hit me with a little bit of a I guess a little bit of a red flag saying this doesn't sound right. But I mean also at the same time like
Laura Bower.
well that too groper I don't even groper but like as
Mm,
with Russell Brand it's more like I, for one, find it just to be, well, an obvious hit piece, obvious slander. It seems strange that you're going to accuse him of this years later, as it always tends to be with these quote unquote Me Too allegations. And then, secondly, I find it to be almost as if it was made up. Like, have we seen the faces of the women that have made these accusations? And if not, he was a movie star and a popular guy in a time where sexual ethics were not going to burn a man alive for sleeping with someone once and not doing anything afterwards. But
hmm
yeah, I mean, what a great way to hit one of the most popular alternative media channels in the midst of an election cycle, and now with the online harms bill being passed. And this is from David Atherton. He's a journalist with the European Conservative, and I thought that this was pretty damning. That he had shared this or wrote this.
Yeah.
Russell Brandon criticized COVID vaccines and is facing sexual allegations. Caroline Diniage is an MP in the chair for culture and media. She wrote to the Rumble people on TikTok asking Brand to be demonetized. Dame Caroline's husband is Baron Mark Lancaster, who is deputy commander of the Secret Intelligence 77th Brigade from June 2018 to July 2020. The 77th Brigade during the pandemic spied on social media posts critical of COVID vaccines. Their tweets were reported and censored. The then head of editorial for X was Gordon McMillan, and like MP Tobias Elwood, both are members of the 77th Brigade. I am not suggesting that McMillan or Elwood were involved or had knowledge of the spying, but it would be good to know. This is not going to dampen the conspiracy theories. So, I mean, clearly, both in America, the United Kingdom, and I'm sure Canada, like the intelligence and government and people who are in the media, it's very incestuous.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, this is just pretty damning that, like, hey, you're being targeted by the state. And if it wasn't abundantly obvious, your own government wants you silenced, censored, and they're going to use the one accusation that can get a man to be quickly put away for a long time. Just ask someone like Julian Assange.
hmm
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The Assange one was particularly strange because it was like, then they accused him like in a three-way he didn't have a condom on.
Something like that.
First of all, I believe that if you're using a condom, you're not a real man. But like that's just but yeah, the Assange one, like it's a very easy showing point. But like, first of all, let me just say that like, I don't know what's your opinion on Prude? Like, what's your opinion on like, do you think he did it, or I don't know?
Uh, even if he did whatever, I don't know what he did. And the thing is that I'm very inclined not to believe these women, which is,
It's
again,
sad.
because I want to make it clear, I don't condone sexual assault, rape, or anything like that for obvious, 'cause it's awful and it's a terrible thing to do to a woman. It's a terrible thing to do to anybody, man or woman alike. But like, it's conveniently timed in the passage of the online harms bill, the 2024 election beginning to heat up as the primaries continue. Discussions over masking and COVID and more inoculation vaccine stuff is in the works, especially because the Biden administration just announced that they're going to reopen like the COVID testing website and all that jazz. And so to
Oh, really?
me, yeah, they are, and they're going to, I think, start doing more free testing to households again, like they did in the pandemic. And so, you're going to censor a guy that's incredibly popular with everyone from like Tucker Carlson to Glenn Greenwald. Like, even if you think this is all kayfabe, even if you think he's like, a joke or controlled opposition, these are the tools in which they can silence you with. Whether it's a sexual assault allegation or just having members of the intelligence community through members of parliament, demand your demonetization and your livelihood to be censored. And I mean, anyone who's on the right in a like further right wing, and Russell Brand's not right wing by any stretch of the imagination, but anyone who's like on the right and critical of their government, there are people who have been arrested for holding, having a podcast in the UK. There have been people debanked, demonetized, who are permanently banned from like civil society because of their beliefs. So this is just an indication that like, hey, you get too big, they will clip your wings and they will do whatever they can to silence and kill you. And this is the way that they do it. And they don't have to kill you physically. They don't have to do the whole magical 5 bullets in the back of the head, call it a suicide deal. They can, kill you off by simply cutting you off from the rest of mainstream society and by having no money and forcing you into a ghetto, or by which that sort of intellectual media ghetto is just filled with the people they already hate and despise. And there you go. And this is kind of interesting because I just saw a report yesterday from the Rand Corporation saying that like DARPA has been testing artificial intelligence that would, try and enter and penetrate what gets called conspiracy theorists like networks and nodes and try to like facilitate and redirect them to authoritative sources. It's this is where you're at, right?
Yeah, they've been doing this forever though. They did that, like you were saying, after Charlottesville, and the Google search engines have like the search engine algorithm, like they're always like trying to like really it's in the framework of like a moral panic that is treated as a contagion. Like thinking like this is why I think I wanted to cover the Jacinda, what's her fuck, I hate her.
Jacinda Ardern or whatever.
Jacinda Ardern, yeah, her speech about how like, free speech is a weapon of war. And the thing is, like, I'm consciously aware of the fact that, like, speech as it's framed in this, like, liberal, like, freedom of speech thing, it's not exactly, it's pretty much a farce, but I do think that to control and for example, like, compare it to what, did you read that ZHP post about like what Based World would look like?
I did, yeah, and I saw that Josh Schellenberger replied to it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I have criticism of ZHP in that, like, respectfully, I think that's a very like neo-reactionary like programmer view of the subject, and that European Man in particular was quite different in terms of the capacity for insight and awareness. But that being said, like the modern subject to contend with it is like he is largely correct. Like, what would our world look like? Would it be like a mirror image of wokeness? I mean, maybe not, but it would be like our thought would be normalized to the point where the alternative would be verboten. And this is how consent manufacturing works.
Yeah.
So Jacinda Ardern, what did they call her? Mama Jacinda?
Is that really how it's pronounced?
Jacinda? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, really? I've been saying Jacinda. Okay, good to know. Not that I want to give her courtesy of pronouncing her name correctly, but
yeah. So yeah, so like her speech was fascinating. Especially that came on the heels of like reading that ZHP piece, because like free speech is like a weapon of war and disinformation, and the evil Russians are the state of exception, and racism and blah blah blah. And as much as we love freedom of speech, it's like we can't tolerate it in like an advanced democracy, because nobody has the right to be like, what if you're morally harassed by racism, right? like it's very much against what like the liberal ethos of like, if you're offended, like turn off the screen or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Just log off, Chud.
yeah, just log off, chat. It just change the channel, right?
Yeah.
I know like that's a Sargon, like, early anti-SW talking point of like saying that, well, the moral majority in Christianity in America was met with like, if you don't like satanic music, just don't listen to it. If you don't like prawn, don't watch it. It's like that ethos doesn't work nowadays for a variety of reasons.
That ethos didn't work, period.
No, no. But the thing is, though, it doesn't work because of both changes in technology, but also the fact that you kind of do like, as much as I critique NRX, you kind of do have to view certain things as social technologies. Now, information is one of them. Certain images are like that as well. Pornography is pornography is a social technology, and so forth. So I think like to critique that sentiment is one, you would say, okay, this is the way that libs fundamentally view things. It's just that Jacinda doesn't have the IQ points to like know that they're being, that know that there's a kayfabe. So she just like comes out and says it, kind of like Trudeau. That's why I think there probably is something secretly going on between the two. But I think that for her to just come out and say it is like a revelatory moment, because the way like, especially like it's coming off the heels of this progressive meeting where like Trudeau is there and Tony Blair and the Australian person, and it's like this, they're talking about like, we're going to like reduce the cost of living, but we're also going to like have climate action, and it's just like this ridiculous
We're going to
pageant.
reduce the cost of living by reducing your quality of life.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Like that's what environmentalism is. It's funny. Listen, I know I shouldn't be quoting him because he became an impossible woman, but it's kind of true what Ulysses said, where he's like, that like degrowth and like corporate environmentalism, that's basically just like left Thatcherism. And I'm like, oh my god,
Well,
left Thatcherism.
it's austerity to incorporate the fact that, hey, we can't maintain a first world like white standard of living if we keep importing a billion people. So we're going to just, we're going to call it a day by having climate, activism and ESG.
Yeah,
We're going
yeah.
to reduce your quality of life, but at least you're going to have like a food stand on the curb.
That may or may not get turned over by a chud. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's funny that that Tara like tweeted that and she got ratioed, but no, but I think like so Jacinda, like she's saying this speech, right? And to relate this back to a lot of common themes this week, like with the protests in Canada, with things that are going on with Ukraine, with Russel Brand, is that like it's always framed within the containment, like there's sort of discursive containment that goes on because the liberal order knows that cannot offer a lot of like motivations for a unique way of living and for a unique purpose within the various subjects, especially of the Anglosphere. So the sort of way that they address people that are sort of dissatisfied, who don't want to like either be, like whatever like rainbow identity coalition group that is favored by the regime, like Trudeau having to like painstakingly type out Q plus II2 blah blah blah, like it's like a sequence, you know,
Yeah.
like that, like in the absence of that, it really does become about the containment of discourse and the containment of certain groups virtually, and eventually, as COVID has shown, eventually physically as well, as we'll see from whatever the fallout or reprisals from this anti indoctrinating kids protest in Canada happens. I mean, will they have to go as extreme as they did with the convoys? Maybe not, because there's not a blocking of public infrastructure besides like, public streets and town squares. But it's also very interesting how like libtards like that fucking Sheridan Ovo in I forget what she's the MP of in Toronto. She's like, look at how much more counter protesters there is. I mean, well, first of all, it's illegal um to say, it's basically illegal to have any sort of like vaguely rightist protest movement in Canada, and we'll see what happens after this one. But also like the fact that like the activist groups on the left are state funded, and the teachers unions, They're letting teachers out of school and so forth. And like, this is all the tricks that they do.
Yeah.
But anyways, and so yeah, so Jacinda, she came to Canada and she met Trudeau, and there's progressive meeting, and of course the Dark Lord is there, Tony Blair, which really tells you something, by the way, really tells you something. And so this is all wedded together into how the liberal, like how the libtard world order is going to handle dissent going forward. And the fact that Tony Blair was also at this meeting, and then Jacinda did the speech at the UN where she talks about how freedom of speech is essentially terrorism. Like, this is all, I think, I mean, call me a conspirator or whatever.
It's
But
incredibly coordinated.
yeah, exactly, 100%. It's incredibly coordinated, and I think that the reason they're bringing Tony Blair in is because they need someone who has more, who has basically more IQ points and who has dealt with a very culturally and politically fractured UK that he controlled and manipulated throughout the 90s and the 2000s onwards. So I think Tony Blair, I mean, again, I shouldn't do the whole like AA, that's like his territory. But I think like the fact they're bringing in somebody like Tony Blair really does tell you of the way in which the Anglosphere is going, right? Because I think when it comes to America, there's too much uncertainty there with next year. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? Biden will probably get in next year. Who knows? But I think that when it comes to these other parts of the empire, like Canada, New Zealand, Australia, the UK, especially, um, all of this is coming at once for a reason. The online crime bill in the UK passing. Trudeau, I mean, he'll probably find a way to crack down. He's already come out and said that parents that are concerned for their children, that they're basically evil Nazis, and you have like leftist groups chanting in the streets that whose children are children. Like, yeah, a fat. I mean, listen, I'm fat, okay, but I'm saying like a Janet Yellen, like disheveled, impossible woman with a mask and like with a terribly frumpy dress with like colored hair. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you want that person to be in control of your children. Okay, I'm sorry, this is insanity, and the fact that you have like you have like like there's this one video where it's like an LGBT Pakistani arguing with a Pakistani who is like against the indoctrination of their children, and there's like an Indian guy with a Ukrainian shirt breaking them up from fighting. Like, this is what Canada is. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going crazy, but this is what we are now, and it's like you know that's the future we don't call it a grave. Don't call it. Well, I'm not going to say it's a future that a lot of us chose. It was imposed on us. But the fact that they're talking about these speech issues, the fact that there is growing social unrest, especially towards like what children are subjected to in school, and the fact that like there's so much uncertainty with how the American election is going to go. I mean, maybe there's probably not as much, not to allude to certain things, but maybe there's not as enough. There isn't as much uncertainty as we like to believe in terms of the outcome of that particular election next year. But we'll see it when we get there.
I have no hope for it
Yeah,
at all. Like,
yeah,
did you notice how no one gives a shit? Like, that's sort of the nice.
yeah.
Like, I know it's a strange because on one hand I'm like, well, if you don't have to care about politics, but politics will still mess with you. But like,
Politics will care about you.
it'll care about you and it'll touch you. Like, it's what a weird difference between like right wing and left wing like friend movements or like just protest movements where it's just
Yep.
like like the truckers, they'll block the roads, but like the left will block the hormones of your children. Like, that's the key difference of what you have to deal with. And
Yeah.
like no one cares because everyone knows that like it's going to be a shit show anyway. Like, maybe it's because it's so early, but I don't care. Does anyone really care when like Trump's the de facto nominee and we don't know whether or not Biden's running or not? Because like even the Dems are getting nervous. They're like, oh, we don't know what if Biden runs for re-election, his legacy will be ruined. And what's his legacy? Making sure that Donald Trump wasn't elected.
Yeah.
And that's where it's at. But it doesn't matter. Like I got like thousands of people crossing my border right now. Elections don't matter. Whoever like says things that I'm not allowed to say without getting in trouble. Whoever decides to say like contact front becomes king of America at this point. And I'll go behind that guy. But until then, no one gives a shit about elections. Like no one
Yeah.
cares. Like notice how like the GOP debate happened and then nothing mattered after like a
Yep.
day, which is good. I like too many. I think everyone's kind of focused on the civilizational issue, and that's it. And the civilizational issue is that tens of thousands of people are crossing your border every day. And despite the fact that impotent attempts to stop it have happened, like Greg Abbott putting razor wire and buoys and things in the Rio Grande, the border patrol is openly letting them in, and that's a willing, like, migration's a weapon and it is being waged against you. And the same thing that's
Yep.
happening in that island in outside of Italy, like
Almost
thousands and thousands
4,000
of
more.
people.
Did you see?
Yeah, like what, 16,000 more?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
Like it's like no, like they, you know, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, you can only, I mean, of course, a lot of these migrants are eventually going to be filtered throughout other European countries, but you know, Italy is still going to have to bear the brunt of it, and it's like, just like send them back. That's it. Like it's no, but the thing is, it becomes politically impossible in the sense of the regime and you know the European Union, um, the fact that it's like so immovable that what we're experiencing like 2014 in Europe again. Um, and it's just like, yeah, it's incredible. And you know, I mean, what is to be done? I mean, we know what's to be done. Just send them back, really, honestly. But in terms of the intransient political nature of the situation, I mean, there's a lot of people that like doom post, like even that like fucking Ian Chungus, or was it him? Where he's like, you just have to accept that immigration here
I
to stay,
have him
man.
blocked.
Yeah. It was someone like him. It was like a turbo grifter who was like, you just have to accept that immigration is the way of the future. That's it. You can't do anything about it. It's like, it's demographics are already over, man. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe, but
What's the
like,
demographic makeup of Malaysia, Ian?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that, but it is funny though how now in Italy you have this crisis again. Is, I wonder. I mean, not that. I mean, and then you see like videos of like white NGO workers, like this woman who works for like an NGO, like dancing with them. It's like, I wonder why. I wonder why, because Maloney is like a total Ukrainian like supporter, and you know she totally vouched on our commitments to limit mass migration. So it's like, why would they want to get rid of her? Why would they want to do, like? Why are they bringing them in now? Right? If we are to like assume that these are being coordinated by NGOs, I mean, not completely. I mean, there's migrant boats that come all the time, but why this like sudden influx in this like little tiny island in Italy? Like it's crazy. Like I don't know. Like it's, I don't know. Do you have any, like, I wanted to talk about Russell Brand, but like we'll get to Russell Brand. But like,
But what is there to talk about Russell Brand? He's been
I mean,
targeted
I
by
personally,
he's been targeted by the state. I don't care
yeah,
that he, like, if he slept. Odds are he probably did sleep with
he
those
probably
women.
did it, man. I'm just saying, he probably did it.
He
Like,
probably did it.
first of all, it's the problem of like conservatard media to trust some like Hollywood degenerate to begin with. If you recall my tweet, like this is the problem. Any like former leftist that gives them a little bit of a nod and tells them that they're right, they all like immediately fucking go to their knees and open their fucking mouths. Okay, like I hate this
You
shit.
saw this with Dave Rubin. Like
Yeah, like fucking Dave
I don't
Rubin.
expect anything from these people. Like am I moderately happy? At least like Russell Brand's straight, for Christ's sake. But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
outside of it, like I figured that this was gonna, if he slept with those women, fine, right? Like,
right.
and I find it's just even if he did those terrible things, no one, half the world will not believe you because
Yeah,
it's so obviously time to take them down in the midst of, you know, the coup being talked about again in a major American election. Like
yeah,
outside of that, I don't believe it. And even if he did, right, it's the same thing with Trump. Trump is not your Bible thumping evangelical Mike Pence candidate.
oh god,
Okay?
no.
He's not. And so when the tape came out about grabbing them by the you know what, who cares? I'm sorry. I kind of want a sociopathic guy who supports my people to be in office.
Yeah.
Reward your friends, punish your enemies. And if that means he's a playboy billionaire that got away with it, so be it.
Yeah.
I just the moralist stuff at this point, like there's not going to be a Prester John coming over the hills to take over that shining dump of a wasteland that is Washington
It's not
D.C.
going to be like what
It
Salvador Dali said about Franco. Sometimes there's men with supreme insight and supreme character and serene patience that will fix a nation. Like, no, we're not ready for a Franco. I'm sorry. It's not
like
gonna happen.
we're not getting one.
No,
At
we're
least
not getting.
anytime soon, we're not getting one. I maybe we'll get one in our lifetimes, and I pray that we do, but I
Yeah.
don't think that will be the case.
No, but I think like
We're gonna get punished.
yeah,
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
get punished.
no, but like not to be all male feminist about it, Prue, but the tragedy is that if Russell Brand and I, a guy that was like a drug addict and a Hollywood star, like okay, it's believable, okay, and there's like allegations of younger women, and who knows. But the tragedy is that if women actually did get abused by Russell Brand allegedly, the fact that, like you said, half the people will not believe it because he's a culture warrior now, and the other half will, like, no matter what, will always believe that he is an abuser. And maybe he could be an abuser, but that is almost like in the hyper reality we live in. It's almost like it's a very tragic thing to say, but it's almost like the reality of it's irrelevant. It's just whatever the narrative capture is relevant. And the thing is, though, is that when you do have this, then genuine people get abused. Like fucking Ron DeSantis. Um, Here's a good example. Ron DeSantis in Florida going after like trans bathrooms or whatever. Which yeah, fine. We based world, blah blah blah. But then he like fucking publicly congratulates Dave Rubin for buying children with his husband, quote unquote. I don't want to even fucking disgrace. I mean, well, marriage has been disgraced anyway, but you know what I mean, Prude. Like, this is wrong. Something is fundamentally disconnected here, right? Like, oh, but Dave Rubin, they're not going to abuse those children. Well, first of all, do you know? And second of all, the act of buying children. Not like again.
No, I'll say it for you because I say
right.
this on Twitter and I haven't gotten banned, and I've said it like 20 times now. It is perfectly legal to traffic children in the Western world if you are a homosexual in the West. Perfectly legal to traffic kids. They just call it adoption.
Yeah. And you know what? Listen, if those kids, if they grow up to have a good life, God bless, I hope. But like, let's face it, what's even worse? The surrogacy thing. That's even worse. Because like, okay, you can make a justification. Not that I agree with it. I don't agree with it, right? But you could say that like, okay, if they were adopted and they come from terrible homes, or if their parents are deceased, but like, the surrogacy thing with gay men, that's like outright demonic, in my opinion. That's like that's beyond, you know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
Like I don't agree with any of it. Like there's like back in the day, like okay, there is a case to be made that like the standards of, especially here in Canada, of adoption. I've known people who went through this. It's like it's like they punish you, right? Like they make it financially disincentivized, and I understand that you don't want children to to go through, to go out of the frying pan to the fire. But I noticed this because you know how I noticed in Toronto, there was a pretty infamous politician, George Smitherman, who was a gay man, and he had his adoption with his husband of like some local adoption children, whatever. He had it speed ran, not just because he's a politician, but also the optics of it. I noticed that it's easier for them to adopt children, that the LGBTQIA, than it is for like normies who are infertile. It's very funny how that works out. Like maybe because they have more money. Like I don't know. It's just like there's something going on there. And we know, like with the Ukrainian thing, we know that the rates of like child abduction, and of course they have to like make this thing about like, how dare the Russians, the children that they go with the parents to Russia, because that Russia per capita has taken in the most amount of Ukrainian refugees, of course, because a lot of them probably have family members there. Like most Ukrainians especially in the East, they have family members in Russia. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a stretch of the imagination. But they make this big thing about how they're educating uh, the children in Russian. And there's this thing that they're erasing their Ukrainian, those children, they belong to Bandera. How dare they? But also, there's a lot of very strange international adoptions of Ukrainian children or children that are disappearing, right? And
Yeah.
like, so, and we know that Ukraine was always like a number one hotspot for it. Like a lot of Eastern European countries are. Romania after Ceausescu. Like, I actually know a couple. They're family friends of ours that adopted a boy, because Ceausescu, he like murdered their parents, and so Romania was a big one. But the point is that there's a lot of sussy baka things going on geopolitically in terms of children. And it's like, not to get all like conspiracy thing about it, but like there's very real things going on. And when it comes to like my final thought is that, yeah, the Russel Brand thing, it's a part of the culture war. It's a part of noticing and moving on. And it's like, if he probably did it, then, burn in hell. But if he didn't do it, then it's like, we'll never, either way,
We'll never
regardless,
know.
we'll never know. No.
No.
Like, and so like, that's the tragedy of it. And the thing is, the tragedy of it is all of these like conservative pundits and media people that immediately when they see someone who's either a celebrity or an ex-leftist, they drop to their fucking knees and they open their mouth and they say, yeah, I will come and suck. Because you know why? Because they're desperate and they don't
They're
know any
desperate
better.
for they're desperate for the slightest bit of validation of their
Yes.
shitty worldview that's just 2 steps to the right of what currently exists.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why everyone and their mother will happily say congratulations when Dave Rubin and them announced that they had a surrogate.
Yeah. Where what's even more hilarious? I mean, in a tragic comic way, when he had that tweet with a picture with his husband.
Yeah, I know, and it was like
We're
every
pregnant.
major, from Libs of TikTok to Dennis Prager, usual noticing things. Like they all said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, congrats." Like, yeah, this is what you got, buddy. This is what
No,
they
but when
got.
they said we're pregnant.
Yeah, we're pregnant. No, you're not. Some woman is that you paid to like put eggs in and maybe have your seed do it. Like it's
Yeah.
disgusting. It's awful.
You're
It's
renting womb.
yeah, you womb renter, you sodomites. I'm done with it.
Womb renter. That could be a good meme. That could no, but maybe not. But I mean, the world's a strange place. It's just like
It's a strange place. I mean, U.S. House Speaker McCarthy denied Zelensky the opportunity to speak in front of Congress, apparently, according to the New York Times. Bro, I think the war is over.
Yeah. Fishy friends, did they get to inseminate one woman each? I mean, they don't do the actual inseminating. It's like an artificial.
Yeah, it's an artificial thing in a lab.
Don't they like take the eggs out, then they inject the seed into the egg?
Happens in a Chinese wet market.
Yeah, of course. It happens in a Chinese wet. Oh my god.
Happens in a Chinese wet market. And according to The Hill, breaking news, GOP leadership tells members of Congress to go home but be on call amid funding stalemate. Boys, I think my government is going to shut down on Saturday the 30th.
Thank God.
Oh, man, USG, no more money for them programs, and people are going to not get paid, and you're going to have a lot of pissed off federal employees.
Didn't Rand Paul do like a 24-hour protest? Didn't he do this back in the day?
Rand or Ron?
I think it was Rand Paul.
Rand Paul did like a 24-hour speak-a-thon on like the NSA issue.
Oh,
done,
I
like,
thought
2 or
no.
3 of
Who
them.
did the healthcare? Was it healthcare? Or was it the budget thing where they were like about to do?
Oh, it was Obamacare, and that was like Ted Cruz's thing in like 2012, 2013.
No,
Like
but I
10
think
years ago.
Yeah, like it was 10 years ago, but it was about raising the debt ceiling.
Oh,
I think it was Rand Paul.
I'm sure that happened at some point, but like we've raised the debt ceiling so many times, and our like national debt's $35 trillion.
It doesn't even matter at this point,
bro. It's like I think it's like what Dick Cheney said when he was in office as vice president. He's like, deficits don't fucking matter. Like, and I'm sure all this stuff does matter, and I'm sure all of it does, but in clown world, it's really hard to care. Like, bro, like 10,000 people just crossed my border like 2 hours ago. Like, why do I care about the deficit?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like it's not it
Federal employees will still be paid. They'll just shut down a few things like national parks. Yeah.
No, that's the tragedy though. They'll shut down things that matter. They won't shut down things that don't matter.
Well,
They'll shut down the
as
national
long as
parks.
my father gets to keep getting a paycheck, that's the only thing that I care about.
So this is you got to realize that Prude is a deep state asset.
Oh yeah, my dad working for like the fucking National Park Service is making me a deep state asset. Fuck off.
No, yeah, you're an agent, Prude. Don't you know this?
Yeah, I know. People call me feds. I don't give a shit.
Prudentialist. I can't do it. Prudentialist, is that
There you go. I'm sure someone's called me that. I don't give two fucks.
That's like default Fed. That's I love that default Fed.
Default Fed. Light
Default
cigarette.
Fed.
Light cigarette. Default Fed. That is true. He does. Well, actually, yeah, he does answer the Bureau of Land Management. It does suck. But
does your old man work for the Forestry Service too?
He works for the Fish and Wildlife Service.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a good job.
Yeah, he loves what he does.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of veterans, they go into like the police service, which is like, I don't know, I have problems with that because like, you don't want to take like a PTSD war veteran and like put him in like a domestic.
Better than a female cop.
Yeah, true. I'd rather have a guy that did like 6 rotos in Kandahar than
like a guy that understands the situation and not someone who's like 5'3" who's gonna reach for her gun the moment I step out of my car.
Yeah, there's like apparently there's tons of women cops that are getting nailed for having OnlyFans now. That's a thing in this world. Anyways. Wow, what a world we live in, Prude. But anyways, yeah, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so the Park Service, the debt ceiling. It doesn't matter. Like, I hate to say it, but libertarians, like, this is the fundamental flaw, I think, with a lot of people like Robert Murphy and Tom Woods. And
what's worse is that this stuff used to matter.
Yeah, it used to matter. Yeah.
This stuff technically, for all intents and purposes, does matter. But
right.
It's the classic who cares at this point. Like, things have just gotten so bad, like even the fundamental issues of like how do you pay for government does not matter.
Yeah. That's
how bad it's gotten. PTSD retired PSYOP e-girl police officers win.
Whoa.
Go home.
Like, see, what's funny? Like, this is gonna open up a can of worms, but like
it's gonna happen. Like, what? Like, do you think they're gonna do it forever? No, they're not. Like, we all kind of make fun of the like Eastern European like cam girl that's like pushing 40 that's still doing this degenerate shit. But
yeah.
like, at a certain point,
more Botox than lips.
Yeah, more Botox. Yeah, more Botox, more plastic than anything else than flesh. When I understood the weakness of my flesh, I sought the blessedness of the perfect, Botox or whatever. Like, instead of the Omnissiah, it's just like that sweet, sweet plastic surgery.
Yeah,
and,
Julia and Tatiana, more plastic than man or woman. Yeah,
it's more machine than man now, Luke.
Well, so maybe sometime man, but you never know.
Yeah, if it's got a bonus hole, it's got an OnlyFans. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. It's just that if there are strippers in Vegas pushing 40 and looking for a way out, the question becomes like, in what world do you make out? Like, how do you get out of it?
Yeah,
I don't know how.
There was there's ways of doing it though. There's women that get out of it. I mean, there should be a pipeline to like see, this is why I don't agree with okay, I don't know if I don't agree with it. Like, I mean, arresting Johns and arresting prosties is like probably not the right way to go about it. But I think like when it comes to the quote unquote sex work thing, I don't think the answer is to make it more normalized as an income stream. I think the answer is to get women out of that situation overall.
Yeah.
I mean, call me a male feminist, but like, that's probably better. but I do realize that like there are women that are older that do it because men have particular fetishes. But like I just think that that line of work in general is soul destroying, and I think that there should be ways, there should be pipelines to get them into meaningful employment after so many years of quote unquote sex work. Um,
Mm.
I mean, even using that term sex work kind of like is politically correct nonsense, but just to be respectful about it. But no, the can of worms is that like, for example, you have like all of these assaults in the military of like female soldiers, right?
Yeah.
Like okay, what's the best way to prevent that?
Mm.
What do you think?
To prevent what? Sorry, say it again.
To prevent sexual assault of female soldiers in the US military.
You don't have them in the military.
There you go. There you go. Like that's easy. Like like sending women to the front lines.
If you want to talk about like an obvious sort of point about this, did you ever see the movie with John Travolta, The General's Daughter?
Yeah, yeah,
Like what a red pilling film, and it's not meant to be one, but it was more or less because it's one of those women about like it's one of those films about like women in the military and sexual assault in the military. It came out in like the late 90s, and like, hey, the general's daughter, like there's been an investigation, like, and it's all based on like there's this murder that happened. It was very ritualistic looking, like clearly sexual assault was involved, and the general's daughter is like reenacting her own brutal assault, and it's a disaster. And then like the film ends and it's just like, the Joint Chiefs of Staff had said that like women in the military, it's not going away anytime soon. But like clearly this woman is so traumatized that she's willing to like reenact her own assault over and over again,
yeah.
and it's causing issues with all the other men in there, and she's like getting back at daddy for not doing anything about it to save his career and to potentially be vice president. And it's just like none of this would have happened if you just don't put women in that situation.
What wasn't the Pelican Brief like that, where it was like
Yeah, that's also the case.
she was a bondage freak.
In
Yeah.
this house, Phyllis Schlafly is an American hero, and she did nothing wrong.
Speaking of bondage, a few months from now, Prude.
What do you mean a few months from now?
Is it going to be a few months, or maybe less, or a month?
For female what?
No, for Kink season 1, episode 69.
Why are we doing this? No, Gio, why? Why?
You're gonna see plenty of bondage there.
No, okay, but why would we? Why?
It's sociological, Prude. It's sociological.
Why? No.
We promised the fans, Prude.
Yeah, we promised them in like a 3-hour episode in which a person reluctantly talks about it, where the other person is like, "This is so interesting. That's like watching porn for the plot." No, thank you.
Oh, I knew you were gonna stonewall me on this one. You could be. Oh,
speaking of films and television shows, I've been
wait, but I'm gonna finish my point though.
You need to respond to Last Thing's DMs, but now finish your point.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, maybe I could talk about it with him. But anyways, King season 1. No, okay, so yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, why would you put women? Like, here's the thing. I understand like how disgusting, like it is disgusting. The fact that like women in the military were like during Iraq and Afghanistan, they're pressured into sex, and their superior officers did nothing about it because it's like the military, either through misogyny or old boys club or through the failure of protocol. Like I understand, but then it's like, why is there this need to put women in frontline infantry in the military, like in a non like, in a combat role where they have to bed with and sleep with soldiers? It's like, why are you doing this? It's just like, again, it's insanity. It's like they're sending women to the front now in Ukraine. It's like it's I don't know, Prude. It's really roused me up, And the thing is, like, people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, you mean that? Tell me that women are as capable as men?" No, a woman could shoot just as good as a man. It's the other things in a combat scenario that I'm worried about. Like it's the other things. What if a woman gets captured by,
or what if her male, counterpart is wounded and she cannot physically drag him back?
Yeah. And what if she's assaulted by the largely male population of
Hey,
the
we're
military.
reiterating the talking points from 30 years ago, and only it's gotten worse.
Yeah, like Andrew Dworkin would be making this argument. I wouldn't. I'm doing it now, but I mean, like, you know what I mean, Prude. Like, Andrew Dworkin would make this argument. Like, come on, why would you want? Like, first of all, Andrew Dworkin would say that as a rad femme, why would you want to sacrifice women for the patriarchy to fight like more people on the other end of the world who are in like another form of patriarchy? So it's like women. It's like, why would you support the USG, the USM? That would be her argument. But
Yeah.
no, but you know, from a purely like, you know, Christian patriarchal perspective, why would you want to send women to combat? It just doesn't make sense. It's not that women are incapable of firing a gun. It's not that women are incapable of servicing ordnance and like, you know, doing various roles in the military. It's just like the military is always going to be a certain environment that is
Yeah.
geared towards men. You know, you could never get away around it. And so it just makes me sad, man. Like, why are you doing, like, why, like, like, you know what I mean? Like, all of this stuff could have been avoided. Like, you could have avoided that, like, one person, you know, oh, I mentioned her a few shows ago.
Jessica Lynch.
Is that the one that did the Mueller she wrote?
Oh, no. Jessica Lynch was a 2003 Iraqi freedom thing. No. Mueller, she wrote, is that
She was impregnated. She claimed it was sexual assault. And
yeah. Oh, Allison Gill. I
Allison
remember
Pill.
because I made an Allison Pill joke. Yeah.
Allison Pill. No, that could have been avoided. She just shouldn't have been there. Like, listen, it's not a knock against women. It's just that, like, I mean, come on, women fighting in the military. Like, why would you want
Your
that?
misogyny should be paternalistic.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Lansharkian male feminism is, by the way. Um, it's like, no, like, why would, like, it just doesn't make sense to me, Prude. It's like, it's not that women are capable of doing various roles and tasks in the military. It's just that, why would you want them there? You know, I mean, and did you know? Oh, by the way, I have to shout out my friends Constantine and Goran in the War Report. They covered this paper. Did you see this paper? I mean, you're a geopolitical guy, Prude. Did you did you see this paper where I believe it actually came from like a West Point adjacent academic paper that floating the idea of like national conscription in America and how that could work out? Did you see that
Uh,
one?
it is on my list of things to read. I saw it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, like it's insanity. And of course they would do like an Israeli style like national service thing, but how could they float that in America? I knew it was off topic from like the Russel Brand thing, but like how could they float that in America? How could a national conscription actually work? I mean, it's insanity to me. Just you know, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Not in the slightest. But I mean, like, America's like, you know, ready reserve is the lowest it's ever been. Most people are fat. Most people are just not ready to do this or anything like that. And so yeah,
Yeah,
like I'm not. They're thinking about it because they don't know what to do about it. And that's just sort of the funny thing about all of this is just that if the United States wanted to go to war and to do it, they would be in a really rough spot because we don't have troops to readily put out. And I think there was that tweet the last week that I don't know if we talked about it. It was just talking about how like the Western world in 2023 is not capable of producing just artillery shells at the same rate
yeah.
as a century ago, like in World War One, that they were making. Like we
Or
can't
even
do it.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
Like the Russians are producing about 3 million now. They want to up it to 4 million a year. So they've eaten through a lot of their old stock, but they haven't eaten through like enough of it to you know, because they have control over their armaments industries. That's the
Yeah.
big. They don't even need like South Korea, like sorry, not South. Oh God, no, not South, but they don't need like North Korean or Chinese shells. They have like plenty enough. They may need chips from China, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to America, like I I know that our friend Paul Fahrenheit, I asked him once, he said that basically, like, okay, discount fat people, discount disabled people, discount people that probably won't fight for the regime for whatever reason. Um, America still probably could, I think, sire 1,000,000 men, maybe not frontline infantry,
They're all
but that,
white.
yeah. Do you think 1,000,000 men is a reasonable estimate, Prude? Like being, a military brat yourself.
I mean, it's possible. I wouldn't doubt it. And I just the state of the American military has gotten into such a sad, sorry shape that
Yeah.
the only people that are heeding the call are going to be like Cassandra. And like this is I don't this was an article I covered like 3 or 4 months ago, but it was from uh that Malcolm Kayuni character, and it's like a broken clock is right twice a day thing. But he
Mm.
wrote an article about like why doesn't anyone listen to realists? And he said one of the issues that realists have, like in the international relations sense, realists is that the model for realism or even neo-realism, like John J. Mearsheimer, it lacks a coherent political formula to associate in the United States. It doesn't have the warm fuzzy to sell to Americans,
Yeah.
and it lacks the ability to sell like it to work in sort of the political grift patronage machine of the United States. And until it finds that, it's never going to get listened to because like there's a funny interview with John Mearsheimer where someone asked him, he says, "Have you ever been consulted or asked by the American government on your writing or your views outside of an academic sense?" And he said, "No," laughing,
Whoa.
"No." So yeah, absolutely insane.
What? That's the way it is, man. Like,
Ironically, Elbridge Colby has been listened to, but yeah.
oh God, did you see that? Is he in jail?
Elbridge Colby? Why would he be in jail?
Oh, I thought you. Sorry, I got confused with the Ukrainian spokesperson.
No, that's Michael Cirillo or whatever. Is he
Why
actually
did I
is
say
he
Colby?
actually in jail, or is he just no longer doing the whole true newscast thing?
You never know.
It would be funny if him and Gonzalo were sharing a cell. I did see Mearsheimer on the Duran, and you know what I did,
I saw that
Marbly?
one.
I sent John an email because if he can talk to the Duran, his ass can talk to me.
Whoa.
So hopefully he replies. Probably
Yeah,
gonna tell me
I
no.
listened to that interview with Mearsheimer. It was pretty good.
It was a good interview. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, I for one would like that I would like to interview John before he dies.
I'd like to interview Cirillo. That would be interesting.
You really want to interview Michael? That's his quote unquote dead name, by the way. Is Michael.
Name? What's her name? Ashley?
Sarah Ashley, or like well, it used to be Sarah Ashton, and now it's like I don't care. The Trooncast is off the air. Sorry, it's off the air. And Ukrainians aren't watching that. That's for us.
No.
That's for us. Like, listen, we're gonna post Cole, and we're gonna like identify who's like counter signaling it. We're gonna sick the little NAFO puppies on them.
Yep.
No, Dr. Mearsheimer and I are not on a first name basis, but I emailed him. Is Mir a Burnham/Kennan type? Mir is more of a Kenneth Waltz type than anything else.
Yeah.
Although I guess Kennan would definitely been more in Mearsheimer's camp, so he's more of a Kennan type. Really, John's a interesting character. Mr. Mearsheimer's an interesting character, that's for sure. Yes, and he was in Taiwan recently. He was, but he's more of a George Frost Kennan type of man.
Yeah.
Just suspended and under investigation because Senator J.D. Vance was like, "Who the hell are you?"
Oh, I saw that the Cirillo person responded to J.D. Vance.
Yeah, and that's sort of what kicked off this whole like investigation takedown stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was oh, it's so funny, man. It's like it's this is the way it is, man. This is how foreign policy is conducted. This is how war is conducted now. And
can we we're halfway through the show because we usually go for about 3 hours. But like, can we do a little a special promo thing real quick?
Yeah.
Sure. All right. So I logged out of my Amazon account so I can share this. But our good friend T.R. Hudson has his new book out. and I wanted to share it because it's a great book. My review will be out hopefully next at the end of next week. But our new friend has a book called The Perfect and the Wicked by T.R. Hudson. You can get it on paperback as well as Kindle and other ebooks is available. So it's heavily inspired by the history of the Kennedys. But it's not about John F. Kennedy. It's not about Robert Kennedy. It's not about any of them. It's about John P. Kennedy, the father. And it's a good historical fiction story about John Riley, the son of Irish immigrants and a bootlegger in Prohibition America. Upwardly mobile, he takes the opportunity to embed himself in the WASP elite that runs the country. However, as John's social status rises, he sacrifices that he has to endure, maintains its rise as well. Is he willing to make these personal sacrifices, but can he ask the same of his family? It's a fantastic book. Highly recommend it. And I'm also sort of shilling it because I'm also here on the back. It has various amounts of praise from Raw Nationalist, Aristophanes, Dan Baltic, and myself. The Perfect and the Wicked offers the reader a powerful family drama as T.R. Hudson turns to history as to what makes or breaks a political dynasty. It's out there now for $15. It's a fantastic book. You can get it with Kindle Unlimited for $0 $14.99. By all means, highly recommend that you get this book. I've read it cover to cover. It's really good. Highly recommend it. There's your white pill of the day. Our friends make good content. Go buy book. Buy book.
Yeah.
Because if not, much like our good
The gem
friend,
in the coal.
well, yeah, the gem in the coal. But much like our friends over at Mystery Grove, buy book or else.
Yeah.
So buy book. But yeah, there you go.
What's it about?
It's imagine the story of the Kennedys and how they rose to power, but it's in a more historical fictioning.
Yeah, wasn't Joe involved with the Irish Mafia?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. They did that good.
There's a good family drama about it, but
Yeah.
Hudson's got his own take on it, which I quite enjoy.
Interesting. I wonder what like dissident historical fiction would look like rather than just like pure fiction. I wonder. That's interesting. I might have to buy that because I have Automaton.
Yeah,
But,
like, do you want? Well, because that's the problem. It's just like there's a bunch of left wing historical fiction. It's called like Harry Turtledove's books, and some of those are just like ridiculous. Some of them are kind of Kino. I'm not gonna lie, because I own a couple of them. But like the ones where it's just like we're gonna go back in time to like 1692 or whatever, and it's like it's pretty interesting in its own respect. But others are pretty rough and pretty bad. And he's like a total shitlib, like Norwooding liberal on Twitter. And you're just like, I hate my audience. History's bad. It's like Trump's a fascist. And it's just like, it's what I expect out of almost every like kind of popular pulp author nowadays, outside of whoever's been associated with Dave Martell.
Yeah, there's like a lot of television dramas. Like there's this one about a time machine. It was like a few years ago. My parents, I think it was called, what was it called? It was like, they go back in time. It's like, girl bosses, and it's like very like politically, it's I forget what it was called, but it was very much like they like every libtarded narrative of like retconning history. Like there's a lot of popular media like that, like a lot of fantasy dramas, and I mean even Game of Thrones was subversive, let's face it. I mean it was subversive, but
No, yeah, he wanted to, like, he really kind of, it was really more of a like, how do I say F you to J.R.R. Tolkien, like more than anything else.
Yeah, but that's the way it is nowadays. Like I think people underestimate like the amount of like the normie mind, how they actually do like watch all of this stuff. Like how does like Big Mouth get like 7 seasons? Did you see this? The ad for Big Mouth? And
no,
it was going like it was, people were sharing it on Twitter.
It's this how what the show's still going?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Who's watching this? 7 seasons. Who's watching this filth?
People that dilate. I don't know who watches that shit. I don't. Someone asks if I will consider talking about the Martian Chronicle, like the Ray Bradbury books. I haven't read them, but I wouldn't be opposed because I like Ray Bradbury, so maybe. But I would need to read those books.
Oh, you like Fahrenheit?
I mean, I liked it. I've read it on. I have a really nice copy of it that was given to me by a friend of mine who owned a rare bookstore.
Hmm.
So I have that. I have a first edition Kurt Vonnegut of a few of his stories are first edition copies that I have. So like I do enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know,
Apparently, oh, I just saw the comment to your live stream, your channel. Someone again reminded us, um, only 9 episodes.
I replied accordingly. This is my cross to bear.
Oh, I can't believe we're gonna cuck the audience like this.
We'll do it, Gio. We'll do it.
I don't. To tell you the truth, it is kind of hairy, man. Like it's. I don't know if we should do it, but anyways,
You sound like could it be? You know, it could be. It could be, kids. It could be. It could be.
I love that picture of that frog.
You know, it is kind of funny now that I'm thinking about sort of all this like weird shit in the news. And who was I talking to about this? Was it last? It was maybe it was on Mr. D's Twitter space yesterday. But it's just, isn't it kind of funny that like all this Barack Obama stuff happened? No one cares, but like Barack Obama is like what would happen if you got Andrew Young into office?
Yeah.
Because like the Andrew Young affair is really interesting, and I think Dimes and I are going to cover it soon. Because if you haven't noticed, my Odyssey channel's got like 6 hours of a great book review called "What Went Wrong: Creation, the Collapse of the Black Jewish Alliance" that you can definitely listen to. But it's like Obama's like, even with the Garrow stuff too, right? Like he's like,
Yeah.
oh, he picked his own people over like the alleged anti-Semitism or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, like so did
Yeah.
Andrew Young. That's why he talked to the Palestinians, despite it being like opposed by his own president or whatever. It got him in trouble. And it's just like, hey, what if that situation was in the White House? And it's like, well, now it is, or it was, and his
Yeah.
people
Didn't
are
Reagan
still in
oppose him?
office. Yeah, he was a Reagan. No, he was with Jimmy Carter, and then he
Oh
worked
yeah.
for the Reagan administration. It's a weird thing to
Civil
consider.
rights movement, serving executive director of Southern Christian Leadership. Um. Well, he was.
Yeah.
What was his particular thing with Iran?
No, he talked to the Palestinians.
Oh, the Palestinians. Oh, he. Let's see. Today's a young school teacher in the dentist. Blah, blah, blah. For interview with author Robert Penn Warren, who speaks for the I can't say that word.
Yeah.
What,
Have you
so
ever
what
heard?
what was the controversy? He was picking.
He explicitly spoke to them. Like the meeting was not as originally said, like accidental, but he did meet with the Palestinian authorities and stuff like that. And it got him in trouble because like this was at the same time that there was like a UN resolution about how to deal with the Palestinians and Israel, and it kind of led, after he got fired, he kind of like turned from the Democratic Party and worked for the Reagan administration.
Yeah,
It was a very strange turn of events, but we talk about that in that discussion
that was
on
like
on Odyssey.
it was like the League of the Black Panthers became Reaganite.
Yeah, it was it's a wild thing to like, it's a wild time in US history.
Yeah. Did you know what? You know what I didn't know? I knew a bit about it, but Count Dankula recently came out with a video about Jim Jones, and I didn't know like
How
Angela Davis like rubbed shoulders with Jim Jones. Like,
Angela Davis, the Feinsteins knew about it, the Pelosi's knew about him.
oh
Like
my god.
Jim Jones was very close connected with the entire Democratic like party and political dynasties of California. Like the dude was a straight up communist.
Yeah.
Heavily involved in it, and like everyone knew what
He
he
was
was doing.
literally gay race communist. He was.
Yeah, he was like proto GNC. He had the Church of the GNC, and it killed everybody.
Which I do admire. I do admire Dankula for pointing out how his like grift operation in California was like the template for like BLM and all these other radical leftist groups to like create like a constituency that you could like wall around and just like create like a funding apparatus for them and like just gear them towards like friendly politicians. It's like, yeah, like everything that like any like leftist activist group is doing like through moral panic is basically was like hard tested by Jim Jones and the People's Temple. And it's
Yep.
like, yeah, yeah. He was friends with Harvey Milk. That's very interesting.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Again, every who's who of the 1960s and 70s in the Democratic establishment, most of them still rule California today. He knew them all. He
yep,
knew them all.
the most prolific mass murderer and one of the most prolific mass murderers in human history. Yeah. Oh my
Endorsed
god.
and funded by, the democratic institutions in the United States.
Yeah.
Listen, listen. That's just the way the news goes in America.
Um, but you know I read some crazy stuff about Jim Jones being like affiliated with the CIA and how he,
I'm sure that he was.
yeah, and like how UNITA, like the CIA went in there before even like there was this like guy that claimed in this forum he was a CIA agent and he was there in Guyana, and when it happened, and it's like, yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. I mean, it was the early internet, so you don't know if it's real or not. But I remember reading this when I was like younger. But yeah, man, like it's what were we talking about before? Oh yeah, you didn't give your take. Did you give your take on the Jacinda thing? What did you think of that speech?
Uh, kind of like it's funny because it was sort of similar to the same situation, or sort of the same problems that like Kierkegaard critiques of the public square. Like the public square can totally change, but people still call it that, and this would enables like liberals to use the names of like free speech and open communication to like utterly destroy dissenting. And I find it to be very coordinated. Like whatever happens in New Zealand, Australia, and Canada, you guarantee will come next to the United States and then
Mm-hmm.
Western Europe. So to see her, and like it's such a smaller population, she did. I still don't know her current polling or whatever, but like she's still incredibly popular, at least on paper, in New Zealand. So like I'm not surprised. Um, we have to. It's the same sort of 9/11 stuff rhetoric.
Well,
We
to
have
them,
to we have to
Christchurch, yeah,
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 we have to destroy freedom in order to protect freedom. Like is it is anyone like what more do you want? Like as a take, it's just bad.
yeah,
They're all in lockstep.
yeah. But no, but I just thought it was fascinating how she like just came out and said it. It was very like, but then it does make you wonder, like that they're from ZHP, like what does base world look like then? Is it just like reverse engineering of like the social technology that like creates the NPC and like a certain like left liberal ideological picture? Like I don't know, like or
Based world happens when MIT, the Santa Fe Institute, and the University of Chicago are explicitly right wing.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't think like you can have liberals in based world. They're just going to probably be they're just not going to have any voice. Like, that's what ZHP like said, and more or less a paragraph was like like you would want those viewpoints to do so. The way that you do that though is that you would. And again, this is the core problem of institutional capture because the right's never done it, or at least it
mm-hmm,
hasn't in my lifetime. Like the Santa Fe Institute talks about like complex systems of communication, multi-agent like ways to maintain an environment in which communication is purposefully left vague, allowing other agents in a governmental and non-governmental system to like there's all these studies that are being put out there about how communication works, how environment works, how public consciousness works, the things that like Lippmann could only dream of. And those are the only people that really like consider what Marshall McLuhan was saying. It was like, well, how do we weaponize it? And I don't mean like they're explicitly weaponizing communication or how technology changes us, but they're the only ones that study it. And most of them are leftists of
yeah,
this sort of like early land Cthulhu scene era kind of thinking. And boy, oh boy, I wish that stuff was going to be used in a way that was going to promote like a polity that didn't want to kill itself.
yeah,
And that's the problem. It's just that and the other thing is that okay, you want base world to happen. Base world needs to come up with a mechanism that encourages people to live.
right.
What has you wanting to live? And like the last time I
Consumption.
checked,
That's like my book talks about this consumption. That's pretty much it.
but we live to consume. Okay, great, but like no one lives to make.
Yeah.
There are very few artists out there that aren't, I mean genuine artists. I don't mean people that are just like, oh, my dad has got like some rich Wall Street executives. He's gonna buy me a record label. Like, thank you, Taylor Swift. I don't there's nothing that tells people to live, to make, to do anything with themselves, and to live according to some kind of higher system of commandments or order. Like, you've desacralized living. You've, taken away all aspects of deification. Like, what's the point of living for people other than consume next product? And that's a pretty shallow way of living. Because when you talk to people in public, and I'm not talking about online because I've hammered this point online more than I care to admit, but like, when you talk to in real life conversations, what's the one word that gets people really uncomfortable really quickly? It's loneliness.
Yeah.
People get really, really antsy about talking about loneliness and how lonely they are. And to me, that really does indicate that, like, if you're only living to consume next thing or to get off your wagey job to go log in, you're living a life of a slave. What else is there to say? Like, we've taken away all aspects that make you want order, that make you want anything. And so instead, it's a population of people that are okay to subsist on a subsidiary lifestyle and to rage and to just rage. Like, I guess if you want base world to happen, you need to control the ways in which public opinion's manufactured. Until you can control that, very hard to do anything other than to watch a very tiny pond of a lot of fish with their own little warring schools of minnows and fandoms eating each other. Because until then, here we are.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. But listen
Yeah.
to us.
No, but it's true though. Like, it's yeah. There's no real way around it. Like, the thing about Based World is that this is why I think I disagree with HP, is that you can only go so far with viewing apparatuses of knowledge, information, and consent manufacturing as social technologies. You can only take that so far, but you naturally would butt up against what you were talking about, which is a reimagining or a reawakening of what the socio-cultural order of the day is. And unless you get rid of those conditions, then I think that's kind of like what Jeffrey Schellenberger, to defend him, because he's a friend of mine, like, to defend him a little bit, I guess that's what he was saying in a bombastic way, is that, a right-wing society would look fundamentally different. And so ergo, you wouldn't just reverse engineer the apparatuses of social capture that the left has crafted over, like, what would you say, maybe like 50 to 100 years right now.
Yeah.
Like, there just wouldn't be the same degree of it. And I think, like, that's what he was getting at. But of course, like, he's like, oh, like, it's like the right-wing people, they just want like a right-wing version of wokeness. And it's, yeah, I understand that's like a bombastic thing, but at the end of the day, like, a right-wing society would look fundamentally different. And the way in which certain views of the self is celebrated within right-wing discourse, I mean, however, like, to push against, like, whatever you want to call it, the longhouse, whatever, there's sort of a level of unrealistic standards there. But at the same time, like, the picture of the social itself and how people interact with each other in a right-wing society would look fundamentally different than, so I think, like, not that ZHP is going to, like, hammer out all those issues in, like, one single, like, long Twitter post. It's just that
I kind of hope he expands on it and writes about it more, though.
But like I say, like, I am critical, like, and respectfully, I'm critical of, ZHP, or, like, especially the Courtesy Arvin sort of, like, NRX, more like sociology, biology, science oriented view of the subject, which is basically like, yes, people are human NPC meat shields, like, meat robots walking around, and that, you have to, like, plug into certain programming, which is funny because, like, a lot of libs, especially the ones we're exposed to online, they kind of do operate like that. Like, especially, like I said, here in Canada, Canadian libs are like that. They're, like, programmable. Now they're like, I don't, what we're going to have? We're going to have, how, like, Islam became fashionable in the 2000s for libtards, where they, like, wear the scarf. What's it called? The Palestinian scarf?
Like the one that Malala would wear?
Yeah, no, like the black and white scarf.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I don't know.
Like, yeah, so they'll be like, but then there's ones that, like, they converted to Islam and they started, like, wearing the hijab, and, like, they started getting, like, really into Islam. Like, they're gonna have, like, there's gonna be, like, libtards that will like really get into Sikhism, and they'll be like, yeah,
They'll
like
they'll, they'll
Hinduism is
kitschify. They'll
fascism.
kitschify. I mean, there's a lot of like
Yeah,
they'll
look
kitsch
at it.
they'll kitschify it.
Yeah.
Like there's a video out there that you can the thumbnail just kills me where it's like it's like a white guy with a beard and he's kind of doing like the soy face and he's like ways to like make the Ramadan fast better and you're just like I'm like whoo that's rough in part because like Islam does have a particularly dominating particularism to it but it's just like oh boy like and I imagine that would be the case is this that like whatever post mystery meat future that like the West might have in some parts of it, like some of it's going to be really kitchified
Oh yeah.
interpretations of it, and it'll be interesting.
You'll have like half white Hispanic guys with the kirpan in Canada. They'll have like they'll have the kirpan, they'll have the turban. They'll be like, this is because that like the two groups that really
and they'll wear it, but for them it'll be more of a consumer identity.
Yeah.
In the same way that like the multiracial whiteness thing is happening in America, where like Hispanics are trying to determine whether they're white or they want to like play the Latinx game or not. And like so there's like a weird ethnic ordeal of civility that at least in Canada it'll have like a religious consumer identity slapped on top of it. Where it's like we're gonna get your shawarma and wear your keffiyeh or whatever, like have a good time, kids. Do what's necessary, remember, like, to be, pray 5 times a day or whatever. Like, it's going to be like that. It'll be just a long-housed version of it.
Yeah, and they'll have the same, like, thing about, like, Ukrainian identity and orthodoxy. They're like, Russia's a terrorist state, like, India's a terrorist state. They're already saying that India's a terrorist state. Like, what does that mean?
This is so fucked, though, for like Western geopolitical interests to counter China.
Yeah.
Like, actually, this has been like I don't know, like if you wanted to get little like 4D chess for a hot minute here, this is such a boon to China.
Oh yeah,
like this whole thing has been good for China. Because I don't know if it was a shooting or a stabbing in the Canada story.
Well, Prude, what's the other ethnic group that controls Canada by and large in terms of trade and relations?
Well, us.
No, besides America, I mean, and India.
China.
Oh, there you go. Like, who's going to benefit?
This is my point. Is that China benefits because, like, what has been the USG's like sort of like Five Eyes goal has been to get the Quad, has been to like get Modi on board with this anti-Chinese shtick, and the anti-Russia stuff, and now it's like. Anglosphere country Canada is like India's a terrorist state, and it's like fuck. There's some deep state, there's some State Department going fuck this Trudeau fucker just ruined like 20 years of planning, right? Because they're like the things had already been rough with the USG in India because it's just like we don't like you buying Russian military materials. Maybe we'll sanction you. And now it's the war. And now the Indians are buying cheap oil. And so just like all this like Victoria Nuland shit, there's just like 4 or 5 like guys pulling their hair. They're just like, fuck. Yeah. Trudeau, why? And it's bad.
It's really bad. Like there's because I thought initially the American glowies benefited from this because then it doesn't mean that they have to get at India. But now it's like I'm trying to think like if they really if a lot of glow in the darks in the American intelligence agencies, if they really like think that China is the next target, and this is what Mersheimer said on the Duran, is that like there's half that say we got China's the real enemy, then there's other ones who have various interests into expanding the Ukrainian war. So it's like the half that are like, well, China's the real enemy. They're like really pulling their hair out. They're like, wow, I guess like, our backyard is now being ceded even more so to the Chinese. That's really, really good job, Trudeau. You really did a good job, Justo. Like you're going to totally, you're going to, like, who's going to make up for it? Oh yeah, the Chinese. When you like totally bomb relationships with Modi in India as a whole, it's like, yeah, that's going to be, I mean, really, and like you were saying, like who is China's direct competitor in the region? It's India, and so, it's really, Justin, he really, he really, he really jumped the shark here, but as to be expected, and I don't know. I mean, America has its own crisis of competency at the highest of levels in terms of the Biden administration, but I mean, you can't really. Absolutely. At least Biden has like semi-competent handlers. cut his mic off when he starts to ramble.
I
But
mean, what a definition of hell that has to be. I saw that on Twitter. I think it was in a group chat. It was just like,
yeah,
I imagine that that's a living hell to be having dementia, constantly pumped full of uppers, and like having to say shit in front of like thousands of people, and then like to like lose
well, millions
yourself.
of people if you include the cameras.
Oh well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
like that's hell.
yeah, it
Not to
is.
say he deserves it or not. That's that. I think God is punishing him in his own ways, but
Oh
like
yeah,
it's certainly nuts. Hey, glow in the dark. He said semi-competent. Semi-competent. You know, it's not all
no,
the
his
way.
handlers are abysmal too. The Democrat Party, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. But
Oh,
like,
they don't know. I know they don't know what they're doing, and they're kind of like, well, how the hell do we like do this election shit again, or how do we fake it? You know, like who do we run? I still think Gavin Newsom's the dark horse candidate for that shit. You
yeah,
know,
maybe they'll bring in that guy from the 2000s that was kind of like
maybe they'll just get Pritzker to run. You know,
Katie Pritzker.
why not? You know, they already just
Maybe.
give me the trifecta of give me the three. Give me a Z, you know. Give me an O, you know. Like just run JD Pritzker. Make it happen.
They're they're just waiting for President AOC, right?
Oh no,
That's what they're doing. They're like clutching. They're like, just make her turn 38 sooner. Like,
35,
is it 38?
35.
35. Just, oh, even better. Even better. She's what, 29, 30?
I don't know. I'm gonna go look it up now, but like, that's I don't think about these people very often.
They're like begging. They're praying.
She's
Like,
33. 2
oh,
years.
I got a few more years for President AOC.
We're
2028, President.
we're gonna die. We're gonna die.
We're gonna die. Yeah, you think Trudeau's bad? Oh, well, she is kind of like the female Trudeau.
Oh, we're so gonna die.
Yeah.
That's okay.
How many Babel on B authors will rejoice?
That's okay. We can.
Look at this. Giro will be forced to wear a kirpan within 4 years. I don't mind. Kirpans look pretty nice. But I'm like I said.
All right, guys, you got a Photoshop you in a kirpan now.
I'm a Vedanta nationalist, so I can't wear the kirpan. But yeah, come on, Prude, say it with me. 5 more years till President AOC.
I'm
Come on,
going
say it
to
with me,
die.
Prude.
I'm going to die.
5 more years. So, clap with me, clap. 5
No.
more years.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
You know that's they're waiting for. You know it, Prude. They're waiting for you.
She'll be vice president to Gavin Newsom in 2028.
She'll have 2 more eggs left.
God, Molyneux, you got your account restored. Just tweet. Don't be petty. You're never gonna get an apology. Just start tweeting. Talk about eggs again, Molly. Talk about eggs again.
Oh my God.
Prudentialist being boiled alive. Not yet. It'll come eventually. My martyrdom's inevitable.
Scramble the frog.
Scramble them eggs.
Like the frog.
Oh, the frog is already being boiled. And some guy's using my profile picture on Twitter, apparently. I noticed this while we were live on the air. Someone was tagged me in a picture. Apparently, someone's using my profile picture and calling themselves Colonel Froggart E. Ree, which is not a bad name, but It's a good name, but you need to like go dress it up in like Civil War regalia, not my Metternich regalia. It's a slow boil. That's how you do frogs. Oh, speaking of which, that Chinese video of them cooking and eating the frog.
And they stuffing the frog with the rice concoction.
2 more eggs. 2 more eggs. 4 more eggs. Oh, they're all gone.
Years. Yeah.
2 more eggs. 2
more. Speaking, because we keep.
It'll be great. It'll be great. Instead of build the wall, she'll just hit it. I gotta
watch this talk in case my GF is listening. But yeah, she's hitting the wall. Like since we talked about, since we talked about,
tell me sweet little lie. It'll be great. It'll be
We're
great.
talking about AOC sex life. We have to talk about the.
We weren't talking about it. We weren't talking about her sex life. No, we can do better. We can do better.
No, but I was gonna say that's a transition to the most pressing issue that has been popping off on Twitter by our good friends at Night Owls, that got screen capped by that Nicola woman, all these big E celebs talking about it.
Talking about sex and being like the most. I liked the tweet that woman said. He's like, I think I just stumbled upon the most interesting thread where everyone's got something deeply wrong with them.
Except for Kofi Annan, he was the most normal one in the thread. That was so.
I think Kofi Annan's actually had sex.
Prude. Okay, let me ask you.
I don't. Why? No, we're not doing this. I'm not talking about sex in the air.
No, do you think women?
I do a pretty good job of not engaging in such issues, in part because, like, why does anyone need to hear my take on this? I am not here to offer you sex advice. I'm not here to give you relationship advice. I'm going to say the same thing I say time and time again. Things are pretty fucked right now, but right at the immediate point in time, this is don't waste your time on this sort of stuff. What discourse is there to be gleaned from this?
Well, I know that like if you're a man, like, if you start thinking about, all the women you've been with, and you start thinking like, oh, what if women don't enjoy sex? Then you'll go crazy, right? Like, you have to assume that they enjoy it, or else, like, like, I don't know, like, that's what I mean. It's one of those things. If you think about it, you'll go crazy. Not every woman can be faking it, But it was funny. Like, Future Moldovan had like the incel take where it's like they only enjoy it because of the power that they garner from having sex with men. It was hilarious. Like, it was total bait, but like, oh my god. Guys in the chat, do you think
most women are different? I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, women are different. Yeah.
Each one is going to be different in the bedroom. Everyone likes to say it's like riding a bicycle. Sure, like, you know what you're doing, but each person's different, and each person's got a different need on it. Some are absolutely Machiavellian and disgusting in the respect that, like, they like the power over it. They like being able to say no. They like to be able to control that. And if you give into it, like, you're enabling their own power fantasy. This is why, like, men saying no is such a great way to say fuck you in the current dating and sexual marketplace. But that was a really strange thread. And I like how I'm just like casually looking to my right with my peripheral vision, and I'm seeing the super chats come in as we're talking about this, and that's terrifying to think about. I haven't looked at them yet, kids. Sorry, just a second.
No,
but like
some
women do it. Some women do enjoy the power it gives over men. Some of them are out there ready to ruin you, like Samson. And Delilah. Others, not so much. But it really just depends on what kind of women you're trying to sleep with to begin with.
Yeah.
She fakes the org. I faked the relationship. Many such cases with some people I know on the internet.
That's true. I've known people like this, man. Not good. But then some, like, I think most women, like, okay, every woman's different, like, in terms of, their own pleasure. But, like, yeah, if you're with someone for a long time, I just feel like just don't have like an elaborate ideal about it. Just like, hear each other out. That's the only advice I could give you.
Communicate.
Yeah, like, communicate, and like, don't make a big deal about it. If you have any like particular like whatever, like, just like, I don't know. I think like it's
fishy frenzy's got the right idea.
Yeah, it's a cliched point, but prawn is not what actual I hate to tell you this, but prawn is not the realistic depiction of it.
John Carter's 100% correct. I'm putting this one up now. John Carter's right. Gio, they will never enjoy it with a man who's worried about whether or not they are enjoying it. Be confident, and communicate.
Yeah.
And do not act or give them any scent or idea that you're an insecure fucktard.
Oh man,
the moment you give that away, it's over.
I was an insecure fucktard, but like,
we know.
Yeah.
And then you got a girlfriend, and it's changed you.
No, it hasn't. No, I mean, I guess so, but like, she accepted the fact that I was an insecure fucktard, so it was like, I got lucky in that regard. But no, but
brutal.
No,
Hi,
but
Brent, we're glad you're back.
Wait, who's back?
He's just said Brent Taylor says I'm so back, so I'm always there for it. Get a house. That's so true. Get a house. Get out of the long house. Buy a brick house. You changed.
Long house. That's a brick house.
You changed.
You changed, man. No, like, that's what I mean. Like, people make this like a lot of like PUA discourse. It makes it way more complicated than it has to be.
Literally, like the bare basics of like
Have a
be able to
person.
maintain conversation, appear to like not
Don't
look insecure, and make sure that even in a way where like things fumble, that you can quickly recover and maintain an aura of confidence. And also, like, don't dress like a slob and act like a decent human being. And I don't mean that in the like, oh, you're just gonna be heckin' decent and wholesome. I mean, like, don't treat them completely like garbage. Make your
Yeah.
I mean, like, in a lot of ways there is objectification that goes on, but do it in a way that makes them feel like they want it. Like, this is why a lot of people will describe PUA as like sales psychology applied to like sleeping with women, because it's true.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. Don't be overtly like love bomby or whatever. That's another
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That can come off as creepy.
Sure can.
But then after a while, like if you're
Don't
with,
call anyone your one-itis either. That's just weird.
oh fuck, I did that, man. One-itis. No, like I mean, but then if you have a GF, like after a while, they just accept a lot of your quirks and a lot of your, not like a lot of your insecurities, but I guess I don't know. Like I mean, don't judge by my experience, man. But like, I don't know. You can ease up a little bit.
Know your worth, man.
Know your worth, exactly.
Know your worth, and don't put up with shit tests.
No, but see, like that's a problem with PUAs and like the red pill manosphere is that they're targeting men that either don't have worth or like don't think of themselves as having worth, or like, and it's sad in a way because it's like giving them, not just give them false hope, but it's like, I talked about this I think a few years ago. I streamed about this like, or a year ago. Like it's targeting very bitter and lonely men, but like there's something, there's like a lot to fix in terms of like how you approach, okay, I'm an incel or whatever. Like there's a lot of things going on there than just like learning.
See, this is why you need. I think about what was his name, Cuomo, right? Or was it who was the one who's the mayor of New York City?
Cuomo. Oh,
Cuomo.
Giuliani.
No. The guy that was doing like, I'm black, I'm gay, I'm Jewish. That guy.
Oh, I think that
That,
was Cuomo.
that was Cuomo. Yeah, you need like a right wing Cuomo. Like, I'm an incel, I'm a Sneed poster. I'm an anon, I'm a sensitive young man.
I did that once when Cuomo said that.
Good. Oh, it was Bill de Blasio. Thank
De
you,
Blasio.
Kate. Thank you. I'm so sorry that you have to listen to our bullshit right now.
It would be unwise to just ask the women in the audience, hey, do women
yeah, all 5 of you. All 5 of you.
All 5 of you, do women
all
enjoy
5
that?
of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. I can't believe I forgot this was live and listened to the Distributist instead. Is Dave live, or are you covering his most recent Fiddler's Green podcast?
Probably the most recent Fiddler's Green.
Yeah, I love how this married man is like, I'm gonna do a late night show. It goes for almost 4 hours. Woo!
I didn't listen to it. Was it good?
I haven't listened to it either. I usually try and catch Dave live, but I was out of the house yesterday, so I'm gonna have to listen to it later this week. Dave is one of the few people I like to listen to live or catch his most recent stuff.
Yeah.
God bless.
Oh man.
Still no Shrek video? Well, there's a whole gimmick account on YouTube called Dave the Distributor's Shrek video, and he used AI to make it. So through the power of AI, there you go. It is there. And I've been told it was good, so there you go. The best part of the title was "I'm trying to save you time," and it goes on for 4 hours. Yeah, well, I'm trying to save you time is from an old Millennial Woes clapback of sorts. Some guy was arguing with him, and Woes was just like, "Look, I'm just trying to save you time." Dave's great.
Look, I'm just trying to save you time.
Oh, and it's about food apparently, so even better. I figured by the title of the show having the word slop in it, so yeah.
Yeah. The
metaphysics of Shrek. I mean, I would love that. I want that video to come out. It never will. Someone will have to write it. Maybe Clossington can write it, But nevertheless, the one, speaking of relationships, family, and children, and since we've just spent the last 5-10 minutes talking about sex, did you notice the how a good chunk of the internet went apoplectic over a commercial?
Which one?
Do you know which one I'm talking about? The Mickey D's one.
Oh, the Japanese
Yeah, here,
Yeah.
I'll put it on. I'll put it on
Yeah,
there.
no.
This is from Tony Sneed Prano, who I like on Twitter. This went viral because the American mind cannot comprehend the wholesome beauty in advertisements anymore. It takes McDonald's Japan to snap us out of this psychologically terrorized state. But like, I
Did you
don't like.
retweet that? I gotta retweet that. I like Tony Steve-Prano.
I just retweeted it right now. But so I'm not going to play the audio because I don't want us to like get in. There we go. But like this is your ad. This is it. That's the ad, right? Like nothing major, right? But it's like this is the inverse of like the Chobani thing. Because I mean, this is also fiction for Japanese because like they don't have children, but
Yeah.
like it's just funny that this is McDonald's and like they don't like that's not a Japanese couple in the slightest. But you know, I find that interesting. It was good, you know. And it threw everyone apoplectically like, oh, kids are so expensive. Like McDonald's is expensive now. I mean, has anyone walked to a Mickey D's and like noticed how expensive it was? I
Yeah,
was in the car.
$20 used to get you a lot back in the day.
Yeah, I know. Although, like, I this was last week. It was like right before we did the show. I was driving home. I picked up two McDoubles and I paid like six something. And I was like, that's not bad for what I purchased. It's
Yeah.
slop, but you know, it's my slop and I want it now. And
Yeah, sometimes you just want McDonald's. Yeah.
well, because it was mainly because the line for Whataburger stretched around the whole building, and I was like, "Yeah, we'll settle." It's like your old like side booty call or whatever that you just let me just call up old reliable real quick, and that's McDonald's. And
What's Whataburger like?
Whataburger is an experience. No, it's not. It's just like it's the Lone Star State equivalent of just having their own burger joint, and it's a chain. I quite like it. I think I get what I pay for, and I enjoy it. The fries are great. The burgers are good. It's good stuff to me. I like what I go there as often as I can.
Is that the
It's sort of
Smash Burger place?
it's the what place?
Do they have the Smash Burgers, or that's the California one?
No, California's or the West Coast thing is the
In and Out.
In and Out. Although there was I've been to a Smash Burger. Smash Burger's okay. I think Five Guys is overrated.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, we're just talking about fast food joints now. Sorry kids. We're talking about slop. Yeah, the honey butter chicken biscuit's great for breakfast. It's hot stuff. It's so true. Thank you, Dick. Greatly appreciate your food
I
content.
quite like Chick-fil-A.
Whataburger fucks up fries all the time. I don't ever get the fries. Sorry. I try to avoid because like my medication causes a lot of potassium retention, so I don't really eat French fries. I just eat their onion rings more often
You
than
can't
not.
eat fries, bro.
No, I just watch my like potassium intake, so I just very rarely have fries. My favorite fries come from Chick-fil-A and from Brahms. Like if you want the underrated best part of like the North Texas, Oklahoma area, it's Brahms. Brahms burgers are very meaty. They're like fresh. Like the meat is really good. The fries slap. Oh, and then everything is like dairy product milkshakes. It's none of that like powder shit from McDonald's or
Nice.
whatever. So like you're actually getting a dairy based it's very peaty in that respect, you know. Like you're getting your ice cream. It's legit. Plus every like actual physical location is also like a little bit of a grocer as well. So like you can get your burger, but you can also pick up some like fresh milk or some veggies or whatever. It's fantastic. Brahms is like arguably the best like fast food chain in the country, and it's like geographically limited to like Kansas, Oklahoma, and some parts of North Texas, and it is so good. It is so damn good. Brahms is the best, and I will defend that place from the Indians as long as I can. You know, like if there's gonna be like a weird sort of like you know Cowboys versus Indians, my Alamo will be Brahms. You know, it'll be great. Welcome to the slop stream, kids.
I remember one time Trash Road Citizen said that the most accurate depiction of the future war will be like that scene in Call of Duty where they're fighting the fast food.
Ramirez, defend that Burger Town or whatever. You know,
yeah,
that'll be
Ramirez
great.
in the Burger Town. Yeah.
Not even all of Kansas, most of the southern half. I was like, I don't know. What's the matter with Kansas? You know, they don't even have it all there. But oh yeah, that's the other depressing thing is that Oklahoma's he's gone again. Oh, he's back again.
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, it is depressing to know that like Oklahoma legalized like medicinal pot, and so like there's like 20 dispensaries within a mile radius of Brahms. That's so depressing.
It's like Canada.
like it's so strange because like I went up there not too long ago for an interview, and like I drove by 50 dispensaries, and we talked about this like last week, but it was just bad. Um, yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. I mean,
How do they get money from pot? Like, well, here's how you get it. You go to like a shitty family practitioner who doesn't even have to be a licensed like medical doctor, but they'd have to have like the practitioner's license or whatever.
yeah.
And
They diagnose you with bad vibes, and then
yeah,
they
yeah, you get bad vibes, or you say that you get nervous on airplanes, and then like, bam, you got your medical marijuana card. Like it's bad, and like these are like rundown shacks. I'm talking about like old wooden barns and buildings that have been renovated to get the license clearance to be a legal dispensary.
Oh my god.
Like it's just rundown barns that like you can buy pot out of. It's so bad.
That's like the the indigenous reservations here in Canada. They have like the cigarette shops are out of like old barns and like trailers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey man, they make money off of it, so like I mean I'd rather them sell tobacco than pot.
Mm.
But I mean in Canada
I'd rather tobacco.
like I gotta like walk like it's like down a few streets from me is like a literal pot shop, so I haven't smoked weed in years, man. Like I don't know, the time that Trudeau legalized it, it's like I have no interest in smoking weed again. Weird.
Yeah, I'm pointing. It's just point and laugh at Clown World, I guess. Well, hi. That's just the way that it does. Because it has killed the like. I kind of do make you miss the dude weed bro type of character. Because like, where did all the dude weed guys go?
Yeah.
The now it's like Runeshine, I guess. Like
Dude,
we got to boil. Yeah, no, dude. HRT man. You got to embrace your inner woman, Brand. It's just weed, bro. Like they're all into psych wards. Yeah, so true. It's strange.
That's like what Nightmare Vision says. Like new atheists, like Norwood, like new atheists, they just tuned out. Like that. Where are they? Oh, they're Reddit moderators.
Yeah, they're Reddit moderators, or they're into psilocybin, or even like the old true new atheists. Like even Richard Dawkins is like, this is not what my grand project of like enlightenment rationalism was supposed to bring out. Like, what is this like weird? What is this weird 5 o'clock shadow hulking person calling himself a woman? Is why this is not what I like. This is why James Lindsay is like that anti-woke liberal. He's just like, this is not what my like enlightenment new atheism was to bring. Now I've got trannies everywhere, but I can't be called a fascist. Like that's what it is. Gio's not sick. He's just on his phone.
Yeah. But no, like yeah, it's
Yeah, don't do drugs, kids.
Exactly.
Pot slop, I like that.
Pot slop. Oh my god.
I smoked the pot slop. There you go.
No, it's just like it's like a religion to people here in Canada.
I do want that to happen though. I want Richard Dawkins to get mammed so bad.
He already did though with Rebecca Watson back in the day.
That's true. I forgot.
Yeah. Just for like, what was it? They were in an elevator and like, remember they used to have these atheist conferences, these rationalist conferences, and like I think like he like said, "You want to get coffee or something?" And she took this as like an advance, even though he's like married. And it's like, I don't know, not that matters that he's married, but like, it's if someone could like post in the chat what happened with the Rebecca Watson Me Too thing, that would be interesting.
Oh yeah, you got Me Too'd.
Yeah.
Oh, what a weird time to be alive. Geo is Sikh, so true. Oh yeah, was that what was
Vedanta.
that? Was that the Amazing Atheist though? Wasn't that like TJ?
No. Rebecca Watson was with Dawkins.
Okay. Well, no, TJ's got his own problems. The Amazing Atheist is the banana boy. Yeah.
TJ was married, like stole his audience's money to like get married to Disneyland to, what was her name? Pam or Patty, I forget.
Doesn't matter at this point.
No, I think they're divorced. I forget.
Like, congratulations on the sex work, TJ. You dressed like a demon the day the Supreme Court said you can't murder babies anymore. Like literally, he did. He got dressed up as a demon, and he was just like, "I'm not angry." And then he's
Yeah.
like, then he went into like a righteous rage or whatever it was, or it's just, oh. Although like it's weird that like he's more known for the Banana Act than to a point that even J.K. Rowling knows who he exists by that.
That was funny.
This is part of the permanent revolution. That is true. This is just the old guards getting show trialed, like all the OG Bolshevists getting kicked out of the Congress of the Politburo. Oh man.
Yeah. By the way, who runs Old Glory Club on Twitter?
You'll never know.
Oh my god.
Because could be me, could be Charlie. You'll never know.
Oh my god.
A lot of us have access to that account.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a great time.
Funny because
you never know. You never know who posts. That's the best part.
Because our good friend John Carter in our Telegram chat, he's like, Gio, shitlibs are going to kitschify Sheikism, and he's like, post a picture of Trudeau with the 2 Sikhs in his arm. Like that's hilarious, man. But no, like TJ Kirk, as people know, I've hated him for multiple decades at this point. For almost 2 decades. But no, yeah, it's funny, man. Like it like how political lines have changed so much, and like nowadays, there's just like, yeah, people are going nuts. It wasn't Dawkins in the elevator. Dawkins wrote a satirical article mocking her. No, I thought he did get Me Too'd in the elevator. No, sorry. It wasn't Rebecca Watson. Was it the elevator incident, or that was Michael Shermer? I think I remember.
I don't recall. This is stuff that I don't make room in my brain to remember.
I remember like some like new atheism plus, like atheism plus person like accused Dawkins of, or someone else. I know Michael Shermer had a Me Too thing where someone tried to accuse him of something. Matt Delahanty, this is by NG Benji. Delahanty got heated the other day when some Muslim guy called him out for dating a dude in a dress. Oh my god, Matt Delahanty's a chaser. I saw that clip where that one frog confronted him about the drag story hour thing, and he got like really mad. You remember the atheist experience, right, Prude?
Yeah.
He's like fairly close to you. I think he lives in Texas still, I think.
God, I hope not.
Yeah.
Oh, partner Arden Hart, 2021 to present is the name of the person that he's apparently with. Open a new tab, look that up. Arden Hart on Instagram. This is going to be terrifying. Interesting. This is kind of depressing. Like we just like got together with like a post-wall roasty, and that's like atheism in a nutshell.
Is it a man or a woman?
I don't know, actually.
Are they together, or is it just like his co-host?
I couldn't tell you. It said partner on the Wikipedia page, so I'm just going to assume that that's the case. It's kind of nice to know that atheism just like is kind of like weird. Yeah, imagine taking seriously a guy with the name Dillahunty or Dillahunty. So true.
He's just like he was like such an arrogant prick back in the day, but now he's like even. It's kind of
he's been humbled by the girl dick apparently.
Yeah.
Not the absolute state.
I remember when that frog called in, and he's like, first of all, you don't get to speak. It's my show. Second of all, it's fun to drag. It's fun. It's nice. And he's like being all serious about it. If someone could like post that clip, like it was hilarious. It was like literally like an autistic frog like confronts Matt Delahanty about going to drag shows.
So true.
Arden Hart. Who is this person? Arden Hart. Like, who are these people, man? Do people still listen to these guys? Like the atheism.
No, Gio, I don't think anyone does, but like you somehow remember them, right?
Like, no, but like it's like people, like there's still people that that follow the new atheist thing, and it's just like
but it's dead. Like
it's dead.
New atheism bursted out and birthed out or unbirthed the transgender shit in a lot of respects, because like if there's no God and rationalism is the way that we can do it, I can rationalize myself into being a woman with a 5 o'clock shadow. You know,
look at this bio on Instagram. Extremely bisexual reptile milf with all content. So that's like she's oh, I guess she's an OnlyFans person.
Oh man, the word MILF in there. So are you telling me Matt Dillahunty stepped up? He's the man who stepped up?
No, she said reptile milf, so it means she's
Oh,
a lizard or
no
something.
children, no children. Yeah, the new atheist HRT pipeline. So true, Representative Mike Oxlong, my favorite member of Congress. It's a surprise that Lauren Boebert has not taken advantage of your name, good sir.
Oh, is Arden Hart transgender?
I have no idea. Does anyone care?
Nah, yeah, who
None of
cares?
this matters. Like, let's fuck it.
No,
Let's move
no,
on.
none of this. Oh, it don't matter.
None of this
None of
matters.
matters.
None of this matters. Let's get out of here. Yeah, Boo
For you
Bear.
Zoomers, that's an Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference right there.
That's so true. Yeah, vaping before a show is a lot different than once the play starts. Low and Boo Bear. Boop. So true. Hugo and Jake is now Hannah and Jake. Ooh.
Oh,
That's so depressing. That's like the Good Mythical Morning people saying they got their vasectomies together. It's just so gay.
Are they like hardcore? Are they like hicklibs or?
I don't know.
Arnhard, who hosts the Transatlantic Call-In Show, a show where Qs are questioned by real trans people. Oh, so I guess Arnhard is like
a troon.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I mean, I don't want to like troon jacket anyone, but you know, it's complicated because like now you have like
I did see it, Brian. It's so fucked.
What did Prudentialist? Did you see the helicopter video of the? Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're building like a migrant city for them out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Well, no, it's funny because like now there's like
danger close.
Like there's like libtard women who are identifying as like non-binary, and they're like,
yeah.
Okay, it's yeah, I think we are dealing with possible.
Did you see the it's just the transgender ex-labor MSP candidate Heather Herbert so probably like something else because the dude's clearly a Norwooding man defends his decision to share a photo of himself performing a post-surgery dilation exercise in a disabled toilet at the Gatwick airport. That's so fucked.
That's the most grimiest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, and I thought cruising was bad.
Yeah, like no, cruising is innocent compared like 80s like cottaging is like innocent compared to this, man. It's this is the state of the world.
I am vomit. I am vomit.
This is totally a blackpilling stream. Like I hate to say it, but
the last like 6 weeks of episodes have been all blackpilling streams.
This way next week we gotta review Nathan Barley because it's got.
I gotta sit down and watch a television show. Fuck.
It's only 6 episodes.
I know, but I have to sit down and watch TV.
It's on YouTube.
I know. Fuck. All right, let me go look it up right now. Nathan.
Totally African. Yeah.
Okay, Nathan Barley. All episodes, full series, HD AI remaster. All right, great, cool. Got it.
But, no, like that. Like, so did they share the actual video?
Oh no, it was a picture.
Oh my god.
Just a picture. Link.
Herbert, what a name.
Heart. Check my list out on Amazon. So yeah, apparently it's a man. That's interesting. That's kind of funny. New atheists dating troons. What else is surprise? What's worse is that I'm looking him up, born 1969. God, this man's my father's age. And like, you had a well-established speaking career. And what are you doing? You're dating a troon. That's
like 30 years younger than you.
That's like, yeah, it's like 25 years younger than you.
Yeah. I guess that's the equivalent of like, to them, that's like a, you know, oh, I got a young one. I got a trophy.
Yeah, but it's got a dick. I grabbed my trophy. Yeah, it's a dick, dude. Like, I'm sorry to tell you.
Comes with a handle.
It comes with a handle.
Oh man, that Dillahunty, man. Like I hated all these people. Like, is Aaron Raw still around? I think Aaron Raw is still like going strong. Do you guys remember Aaron Raw?
No. Why are we reminiscing over new atheists?
I kind of look like Aaron Raw. Like if I was like 20 years old, I'd probably look like Aaron Raw.
Aaron Raw.
Apparently, he lost some weight.
New atheist.
That guy, like, remember Fake Sagan?
You look nothing like him.
Yeah, when I had long hair, even maybe I don't know. No, yeah, you're right. I don't look anything. Yeah,
You look
you're right.
nothing like him. You're beating yourself up too much.
Man, he looks grizzled now.
He looks like he could have been a hardened criminal. Instead, he's just been like a massive. He's like the hick lib version for like new atheists.
Yeah,
like he's the Yellowstone version of the new atheists. He's just like trying to look like Dog the Bounty Hunter, except he's trying to argue why God's not real.
I think he's also from Texas.
Oh, let me go.
There's so many new atheists from Texas.
Yeah, he was a Democratic. He was a Democratic candidate for a while back.
He got married to a decent like biker chick, so
yeah,
yeah.
he's also 60. Like, it's just so kind of baptized as a Mormon. Interesting. Yeah, he went to UT Dallas. That's kind of sad. Does he still live in Texas? That's the real question. I think so. But he works for the Satanic Temple, so he's going to hell. That's okay. That's okay.
Really?
Hello, Chuddies. Hello, Robin. Hello, Chuddies.
He worked for the Satanic Temple. That's crazy, man. Like his wife, like why is it that like all of them, like these new atheist figures, they always marry like these very pale and pasty, like they look like they went through Renaissance fairs. Like they always have goth girl, like even the Impossible Women. Did you know they always have like the aesthetic of like anime goth, like the women of their dreams, like I'm a pixie nerd girl, or like I'm like dark academia nerd chick.
They want to be the manic pixie dream girl that I think a lot, it goes back to like the AGP thing, like the auto gynophile stuff. It's just like I'm the manic pixie dream girl that I couldn't get when I was in high school, and so we just turn out.
Yeah, they always look like the nerdy pixie girl that they want, like that they desired. I don't know why. They always have the aesthetic of it where it's like either like goth anime girl.
They all want to be Abby from NCIS,
Yeah, or they'll want to be Abby from NCIS, exactly. Or like it's like a nerdy, like I'm dark academia nerd girl, and it's like all this like crap, and it's like the perfect aesthetic for like, let's face it, autism incel bait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and there is a high correlation between autism and, well, we know this.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole Tavistock clinic in the UK, they got in trouble for like, you seem to be targeting autistic women to transition.
Yeah,
like when you get the most lip-hearted like UK government to be like, listen, you're making it a little too obvious that we're targeting autistic girls. Like, you need to stop.
No, but like autism in men, but like I wonder like why like women that transition, they don't have the same autogynephilic like I mean, maybe some of them do. They have like the whole like yaoi thing going on.
Well, I mean, I guess really but
it's not like desire based like it is with men, where it's like I want to be the girlfriend I can never have, sort of thing.
Yeah, they're not. Well, I mean, like female transition's a lot different than the become the girlfriend thing. Yeah, I mean, this is where I guess like if you want to know more about that, I guess we can say go talk to like see every video Ben Boyce has ever done talking to these people. Like he's
talked to them.
That's like half his channel's the gender discourse stuff.
Oh, that's funny. I'm talking to him this next week.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe you can pick up into that. Yeah. Just pick up an addiction like a respectable failed man. Just start drinking,
Just start doing coke.
Just start drinking. Or to quote John D, just do heroin, like there's Dillahunty's apparently a video game streamer on Twitch.
Yeah.
Woo!
See, that's why he's getting the Zoomer audience to become atheists.
Yeah, that's why he found his like 20 years younger Troon Mary or whatever.
That's my trophy gamer girl.
You just got to bring back alcoholism, kids. Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. This is my favorite tweet from Nick Land as of late is that the regime is anti-autism, and therefore I am pro-autism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, I think I know like Blanchard said that like the F2Ms, that's like it comes from extreme child abuse, but like that can't be every case, man. Like I talked about this with Helena back in the day. Like I mean back in the day, I mean a year ago. Yeah, a lot of it does have a visual thing, but a lot of it's different than like the male AGP. I would have to like, yeah, I should talk about who does he actually talk to?
Ask that question to Boyce when you record with him.
Yeah,
Like he'll tell you.
Well, he's talked to DC.
Dillahunty later became a founding member of the Counter-Strike team Clan Killers 3 and participated in early early gamers, man. Early gamers and skeptics. The cycle repeats itself.
Yeah, some of them either became like Curtis Yarvin, or they became like something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Man, what a stream.
What a stream. Shall we get to the super chats?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can sneed them on over via here or on Entropy. Although maybe I'll put out my Venmo one of these days for you to do that. But until then, today's episode of the Digital Archipelago is sponsored by the new book by T.R. Hudson, The Perfect and the Wicked, a perfect family drama discussing the American political dynasty in the midst of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s as a one man struggles to realize what his sons can do and to rise to power in a world that hates him and is against him. It is available now on Amazon and bookstores worldwide in paperback, Kindle, and ebook format. By all means, purchase book, buy book. Do it now. But until then, back to the super chats. I guess, we have cams off. We can keep the Sneed guy up going now. So I guess I'll start with, there we go. Hello, Gio. Yep. We'll start with the Entropy chats real quick. Man, it's been super busy in respects to Entropy. I got to make sure I've got them all going. All right, so the first one is from Mike of Pole for $5 US. He says, the Brand situation plus the harms bill is so blackpilling, but hey, we got Cody Wilson's GAT GPT, so that's something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess good for Cody Wilson to still be kind of relevant and after they kind of also got him with sex crimes.
Yeah, what happened? Is Cody Wilson out of jail? What happened to him?
I don't know. I'll have to ask Micah Pohl real quick.
Yeah.
Because he follows that stuff.
Fan, so.
Yeah, he's a big fan. He's closer to that stuff than I am. Micah Pohl also says for $5 US. Also
$5?
Head on over. There we go. Also head on over to Praise the Folly after the show wraps. Todd and I, meaning Micah Pohl, are going to be doing a deep dive on Baudrillard's Spirit of T-wordism. So, Spirit of terror. Okay, gotcha. Owen Zaleski for $5 US says, hello, gents. Enjoying the show. Currently working on my next ballad, like Billy the Kid versus the Dracula poem. This time I'm currently doing Frankenstein's monster versus John Henry. Any suggestions of monsters or folk heroes? Maybe a Canadian one. Also, Gio, get Entropy. Do you have any Canadian folk heroes that he could write about there?
Matt Trapper.
Matt Trapper?
The Mad Trapper, maybe.
Yeah. Hey, there's Jay Burden and his weak-ass attempt to shit on the Digital Archipelago. Good to see you, Mr. Beaverman. I hope that you enjoy your time in chat. Have a good time.
What did he say?
He said, boring. Sent while playing Subway Surfer. Total Zoomer death. Machiavelli sucks to go for $4.99 says AI lies. I tested it. Yeah, I think our good friend Aristophanes also did with the whole Dan thing. Definitely true.
Well, apparently WWE's, someone said, Brian Danielson said WWE's going back on the USA Network. Whoa.
Oh. Good time.
Yeah.
Fishy Frenzy said, just read Capitalist Realism. Heard you liked Mark Fisher, Gio, so what's your wider opinion on him? And is there any other work of his I should read?
Read Ghosts of My Life is pretty interesting. I tend to like Mark Fisher. I think like the fact that the leftoids abandoned him has opened up a lot of good avenues for content. I mean, he's important in certain parts of my book, but I think like I know recently because of the Brand thing, like for some reason the essay exiting the vampire castle went viral again. And you have like all these snide like leftoids being like, we don't care about Mark Fisher anymore. And it's like, I think like it would be wrong to just focus on the Vampire Castle essay because he was like a Marxist and, he did have a lot of like, he was responsible for reviving Marxist thought, especially in the UK towards like, millennials. But, Yeah, I mean, capitalist realism is a must read, even though it's like an airport theory book, as some people have called it. I know our friend Evan Platinum called that airport theory book, but it is like, nevertheless, it is very important. But yeah, Ghost of My Life is a great work of all of his essays, but also like, if you want to splurge, just buy K-Punk, because K-Punk is a great collection of all of his blog posts, and it's got like everything. It's like a very like big book. So yeah.
Sam153 for $10 Canadian says, saw an ad for the new Frasier reboot. Only a few seconds of viewing it, and I knew it was going to suck.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
I clicked on it when I saw the super chat come in. I opened it on the side, and I was like, this is gonna suck. The show ended gracefully. The character of Frasier Crane ended gracefully in the early 2000s on a flight to Chicago. There's no need for another TV show. It's going to be
I
bad.
forgot. Did Niles end up with Daphne or no?
Yes, Niles ended up with Daphne in season 7, and then that kind of character arc kind of died because the will they won't they tension went away. And so, plus the Jane Leaves got pregnant in one of the later seasons, and they had like sent her off to fat camp, and they had their own cringe reason as to why. But yeah, I will watch that trailer. I'm in full. I know it's going to be bad. Bolero 393 for $2 US says no sodomy or womb renting stream. Well, sorry, we did it for this one.
Sorry.
Maybe next time we won't. I will watch Nathan Barley this week, and we will talk about it much. It'll be different. We're returning to form of media review. So Nathan Barley is next week.
You think they're going to be punishing Kelsey Grammer for being a Republican? That's why they're doing this.
Oh, of course. It's going to be a humiliation ritual for Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, did he vote for Trump? I think he voted for Trump.
Yeah, he voted for Trump, and he calls Democrats murderers because of abortion. Like Kelsey Grammer's an unfathomably, like, he's the closest thing you get to like Boomer Waffen in Hollywood. Yeah, outside of like James Wood and like Nick Nolte when he was still like big time tweeting. Oh yeah. And so yeah, I'm surprised he got his show to get a reboot or whatever he had.
Maybe we should review Affliction one day.
We should. I'm all for that. Jack says one of the best streams on YouTube, in my opinion. Well, thank you, Jack. We greatly appreciate
$5.
That opinion is not just opinion; it's fact. It is one of the best streams on YouTube.
Way better than we all know what the Jay. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna look at Cat Shane and Jay Burton.
Well, it was funny because he and I were streaming at the same time on Monday. He had the Templar. I had George Bagby on. But Seasider just sends $10 US. Thank you, good sir.
$10.
Joshua Beebe, who's like take on like the Ukraine war, who I've given credit to. I mentioned your name on Mr. D's stream or space on Twitter yesterday. It's a great take. But I says for $2, have you seen The Last Kingdom on Netflix? No, I have not. Please reply in the regular chat if it is worth my time.
What's it about, The Last Kingdom?
I don't know. That's why I hope he tells me. Or the chat can tell us as well if they've seen it. Matty Ice for $5 US asks, did y'all ever look into the 1980s GOP scandal, Franklin/Boys Town with Gary Caradore and Lawrence King? Please consider talking more about it. Are we talking...
Wait, before you get to that, Jay, your love is requited. What are you talking about, bro?
You're totally fine, buddy.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Anyways, Franklin...
Is the Lawrence King the killing that happened?
I think so.
Like the quote unquote gay panic defense or whatever that happened, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know like McGurney is in prison still, but I don't know enough about it. I'd have to do some research, Maddie. I don't know.
Oh, is it part of the Franklin thing, the book? You know, the Franklin cover up?
Maybe.
That we referred to?
Black Epstein. Oh, well, that tells me quite a bit there. Interesting. I guess I'll have to do
I heard about
some research then, because I don't know enough about it. No, Larry King supplied teenage boys to GOP's higher-ups. Oh, that Larry King. Okay. Not the media one. Boys Town was a Republican congressman taking boys from a Catholic school for rape and murder. Good God.
Yeah, that was covered by Ted Gunderson, the FBI. Yeah.
I don't know enough about it, but I can definitely, I mean, I know if Blackpilled, if Devin Stack's done a stream on it, I will catch up rather quickly on that issue. But thank you, Matty Ice. That your suggestions always appreciated. Glass Bell for $2 just says free money. Well, thank you, sir. I'm all for that. Zhang Wei for $4.99 US says, I am getting the sense that the shake weight is a fundamental component to Gio's weight loss. That's just brutal.
The shake weight? Oh no! Oh, those commercials are funny, man. The shake weight.
The Last Kingdom is about the Viking raids and settlements in England during the reign of King Alfred the Great. Oh man, I miss King Alfred.
Oh, I think my old man watches that show.
Well, I'll give it I'll give a couple episodes to watch. But all right, the next one is from John Carter for $9.99 US.
$9.99.
Gio, full video review of Beverly Lewis's The Shunning for $100 US, or My Choice from other Amish/Mennonite romance novels for $200 US. Apparently, he's putting you up to a challenge, good sir.
Okay.
$100 for Beverly Lewis's The Shunning, or $200 of a romance novel of his choice.
Okay, I'll do the romance novel of your choice. I'll review.
All right. Well, I guess you're going to get $200 next Thursday.
But I have to do the review. So, John Carter, which romance novel do you want? There's Mennonite and Amish romance novels.
Kind of based in a way.
My God. I mean, let me look up Beverly. Like, I could take the $100. Okay. The Shunning.
I'm looking this up as well.
Beverly Lewis.
By Beverly Lewis. This already looks like pornographic.
The TV movie or the book?
Published in 1997. The Shunning, The Confession, and The Reckoning. Oh boy.
Oh God, I think my GF read this.
There's a shitload of Beverly Lewis books. I wonder if is Beverly Lewis like I wonder if Beverly Lewis is an actual is a man.
Oh my God.
There's good money to sense that Beverly Lewis is a man.
The Shunning.
Modern fantasy is really just softcore adult content. It's like that because adults have maintained their infantilism and their youth, delayed maturation, arrested development. Yes, there is.
Yep.
Because it's funny because the show that embodies this today is BoJack Horseman, but the one that came out 20 years ago is Duckman, that I think is a more perfect embodiment of it.
Oh yeah, Duckman's the best. Yeah.
Duckman's the ultimate BoJack Horseman holds no candle to Duckman in that respect. But I'm going to carry on. Fishy Frenzy for £2 says they're going to kill Zelensky. Eventually.
They're going to kill Zelensky in Tucker Carlson voice.
Eventually. I'm sure someone will.
It won't be the Russians. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, it won't be the Russians. It will probably be someone from the West.
John Carter, if you're still in the chat, just what would be the $200 option of a Mennonite or Amish book of your choice?
Because
The Shunning looks pretty interesting. Let's see the reviews of all the women, the moms who read it.
Oh my.
I highly recommend book to everyone who would desire to understand the mentality of religions that have complete control or adherence. This is from 2002. This is OG Amazon.
The shake weight was made for gooners. So true, Cody. So true.
Sometimes people call these cults for the control of followers' sole desire of the male leadership. Submission to things they follow will bring great unhappiness and harsh. For
$200, you have to have Jay Burden on to discuss also. Ooh, interesting.
Well, me and Jay wanted to discuss House of Leaves, but yes, I will do the Content Mine episode with Jay Burden. We'll read that book.
There you go. On to the next one. Prince of Parma for $2 says Mara Bain on Win. Oh man, Gio, do you want a 6-hour show?
Mara Bain. Who is Mara Bain?
On Twitter. You don't know who he is?
Wait. How do you spell it?
Literally as it is on there.
Mara Bain. Sorry, I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay. I forget. My apologies.
Wait. It's Marhobarn Bain.
Yeah. It'd be a good time. Marhobain, the South African guy, right?
Robert Dugan. Why don't you say his real name?
Just say Robert Dwegan.
His real name? Robert Dwegan.
Dwegan, yeah.
Dwegan. Was he on Sorry, Baps.
Yeah, he was on Caribbean Rhythms. He's been on my channel once to
You
talk
were gonna
about the
say
South African riots.
You were gonna say it too. It was on your tongue. Yeah, Bap.
Yeah, he's on with no, it's Caribbean Rhythms, but yeah, he was also on my channel about 2 years ago. He's a verbose man. And
He's
I
got
love
a
him to
weird
death.
style of replying to you. He really penetrates, you know.
He's a smart guy. He's
Yeah.
really intelligent. It's just if we have him on, we're going to be on for like 5 hours.
You want to do it? What are we gonna talk about?
Don't know. We'll find out. We'll find something to talk to him about. I'd be happy to have him on though.
Is there
Um,
sex scenes in this shunning book? I guess that's why John Carter wants me to read it, because there's gonna be like, you know,
content minded with Costin on his new book. Yeah, it'd be fun.
yeah.
Imagine, it'd be
I
great.
don't know if I could pull him though. He's hard to get, man.
He's a hard man to get a hold of. You know, he just finished a whole doctoral dissertation.
Yeah.
But Prince of Parma for $5 US has that video, the one about the Chinese lady eating the frog. Will do more to radicalize the E-right against China than any psyop from 3-letter agencies. This is why I said yesterday
Yeah, 100%.
in Telegram that this is like, you will get wine mom, like cat mom people to be anti-Chinese. All they got to do is just post those videos.
Yeah.
Like, these savages eat, you know, our animals. They eat our pets. They eat our cat babies. You know, just
now
like,
imagine the frog video. Imagine the rabbit videos, like from Szechuan. They eat a lot
yeah,
of rabbit there.
like it's gonna be bad.
Uncle
It'll be bad.
Roro-
Like, it's a great way to do it. It's a great way to radicalize people against the Chinese. It works. It works. So yeah. Prince of Parma for $5 US. He says, listen, I'm not here to give you sex advice or relationships advice. Now get off my digital lawn. Get off my digital lawn.
Well, I can give you some sex advice.
Don't.
That always shuts me up.
Don't. Get off my lawn. Joshua BB says for $2, be a man, assume they don't, and they don't care. To quote a friend of mine, his name is I'm not going to say his name, but it's a friend of mine IRL. He's like, listen, I've had no complaints over what I have, and there's only one person I need to satisfy, and that's me. So there's other mindsets that you can take about it.
Oh, yeah.
But John Carter, like we said earlier, they'll never enjoy it with a man who's insecure. Jay Burden just sends a heart and a
$5,
a Band-Aid. Our love is unrequited for you, Mr. Burden, and you're a good person and a good shit poster and very quick with a joke. Representative Mike Oxlot for $9.99 says the excitement I get from hearing you read my name is worn off, so you can believe that this money comes from a sincere place of gratitude for the entertainment you provide. Well, thank
Mike
you.
Oxlot.
He's that, and you've changed your name after we made a joke about the fact that what's the word I'm looking for? That I made a joke about you running for office, and in the wake of that Virginia chick having like a chatterbait history running for a local office. And then Melon for $2 says, do Gen Z in your area know how to grow food? Yes, but all the Gen Z in my area that know how to grow food are like radical Orthodox converts, and they own a food co-op, and they all farm. So you're asking the wrong guy. My average representation of Gen Z is radically different because all the Gen Z people I know are Christian extremists.
Yeah.
And they take that as a compliment, which they should. If someone calls you a zealot, that's a compliment.
Any bodybuilders?
There's a few.
Like that Sam Seelick guy, he's only like 21. I like that guy. He's good. Like, he just does it, you know? He doesn't have any fancy, like, you know, Sam Seelick. You guys like in the chat? You like him? I was watching some of his videos. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it is Gio's advice. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sam Seelick. I know he's speedrunning the Rich Piana.
Marbly, sorry, I'm Mark posting. That's so true.
Mark is wrong. Okay, like, relationships will never be like totally low status. Okay, like, I hate to say it, like, listen, I respect Mark, but he's wrong. Okay, like, the sensitive young man should find a sensitive young woman one day. That's how it should be.
Generation Zealot. I like that. Fishy Frenzy. Generation Zealot. Yeah. Sex is a race, and I'm the racist. Yeah.
I know people don't like Sam Seelick because, like, he grunts and groans, but that's like part of the fun, though. He's like grunting. He's like, like he's dying every set. Like, oh man, he's smart too, man. The way he talks, like, he's got a brain, you know.
Yeah,
that's nice to see. I think he could be a sensitive young man. I think he quoted Zizek once, and that like threw me for a loop. That's like, whoa, this guy probably is, pretty smart. And even though Zizek, I know he's kind of like pop theory, but like, I mean, anyways.
Good times were
Oh, I
had
gotta
by
say, I'm
all.
sorry that I haven't come out with any episodes lately. It's just I'm trying to finish my book, and like, I've been recording other stuff with other people, and it's been hectic, man. So hopefully maybe next week I can come out with an episode of Content Minded, because I wanted to record like a Patreon only stuff. I want to record one on like to review the film 8mm, because it's like one of my favorite films ever. And I feel like YouTube would probably look down upon it, but I didn't want like the usual cold take about like the moral choice of it. But anyways, yeah. So I'm sorry to all my fans and patrons. I will make up for it when I just gotta like rebuild the Patreon when I get done my first draft of the book. I sent it out to the editors, but yeah, it's hard, man.
Yeah. Chat's turned into an absolute human nightmare. Good Lord. As for me, I will hopefully have a Substack out soon. It's going to be on the subject of immigration as a weapon and how that affects foreign policy. It's got some friends in the Telegram chat sent some really great academic resources, so hopefully that will be out soon, alongside another patron book club. It'll be this Saturday. Let me make sure I got the right time. Let me pull up my patron Discord that I have set up for you guys. Book club will be this Saturday, which is the 23rd at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you have the time, don't worry. It'll be available on YouTube channel memberships, Subscribe Star, as well as Substack. We are covering William T. Kavanaugh's book, The Myth of Religious Violence. That will be that'll be up this Saturday afternoon. So
Finally,
got a lot of
that one.
What do you mean finally?
I thought you said you kept saying it for multiple weeks. You're going to cover the myth of religious violence.
Well, yeah, it's I do this once a month. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So my patrons have time to read the book.
Oh man,
I'm not Lex Friedman. I'm not going to read a book in like a week and then on to the next thing, because I'm reading like 4 or 5 books at once. I can't do that.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, that'll be out this Saturday, and then we'll go after the next book, which I haven't decided what we're going to cover just yet. I usually consult with my patrons over what it's going to be. After that, we're going to have some videos out proper. The drought's been really bad, and I haven't had time to go fishing. I've been rather particularly busy, so no real talks as of late. I've been trying to write more content rather than just impromptu speaking. But yeah, we're gonna have some a good time in the future. I've got some books to review. Finally, my edits have been sent off, so hopefully when the next edition of the Mars Review of Books comes out, you will see my name up there. And then of course I'm working on reviewing The Perfect and the Wicked. So lots of good stuff in the meantime, and it'll be a fun time all around. But your ongoing financial support, both to Gio and I, via Patreon or Subscribe Star, Buy Me a Coffee, Substack, etc., is all greatly appreciated. Are you alive without your pond? My pond is like right in my backyard. I just haven't had time to go fishing.
I have to immortalize this Jay Burden take in the chat.
Yeah, which one is it?
He said, "I have to nut fast. I got frogs to post."
Well, it's good to know that somebody nuts fast, and it's Jay Burden. I'm sorry for your wife, man. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to buy T.R. Hudson's book. We will see you all next Thursday covering Nathan Barley on Digital Archipelago episode 61 on Gio's channel. Be sure to check out the playlist that we have here on YouTube and make sure that you can download them as well. We will see you all next time, next Thursday. God bless and take care, gents.
God bless. Goodbye. Too sweet.
See you, ladies.